Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Campaign's out-of-home breakfast briefing event. I'm Nadeem Qureshi, the publisher at Campaign Middle East, and thank you all for attending our final breakfast briefing for this year and making all our earlier campaign events a super success like you always have. Before we start with today's event, I want to brief everyone on the latest developments at Campaign Middle East and all our partners. On your tables, we have our recently published 8th annual edition of Campaign MENA Outdoor Guide. This out-of-home guide features the latest news and insights from industry leaders, along with details on all the out-of-home suppliers with a huge pull-out location map for UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. In this map, all the outdoor properties are precisely marked to such an extent that it officially broke my designer. And that's not a bad thing, because the level of involvement from each outdoor supplier and reflects the passion that each one of you has for the brand and for the industry. And we don't see this from any other industry in this region. And believe us when we say this, because we publish more than 12 different directories in every year. But this is the biggest supplement we publish. This is the media everyone loves to talk about and is so passionate about. Outdoor media, be it brands, agencies, or suppliers, everyone. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for who is working tirelessly towards uplifting the quality of out-of-home media in this region. Well done, everyone. Anup, Campaign's editor, will come on stage shortly and talk more about this media in detail. Moving on, we are also planning to host the 3rd annual edition of Campaign Agency of the Year Awards on 12th December at this very venue at the Westin MENA CIE. As you're aware, our Agency of the Year Awards focuses on agency business culture, success, that is year-on-year growth, financial achievements, diversity, and the people and teams driving this forward. Here's a short video on the success we had last year for Agency of the Year. We had closed the entries last month and we received a record number of entries for all categories. And just last week, we announced the shortlist for these awards. So we hope to see most of the agencies here back next month for these awards. All the very best who have been shortlisted. We've also just finalized our 2025 editorial and events calendar, which we have put together on the feedback we received from the online themes survey that we encouraged everyone to participate in. We appreciate the feedback, and we have put together a strong line of themes and event topics that I'm sure everyone would like to be a part of. For more information on editorial plans, please reach out to Campaign's editor Anup, and for collaborations, reach out to me or Tarun for all partnership opportunities with Campaign. Coming back to today's event, we would like to thank all those sponsors who supported us for our event today. Our gold sponsors are Arabian Outdoor, Contour Media, Hills Advertising, Hypermedia, 7 Decimal, and Viola. You will hear more from them as the day progresses. But here's a short video from one of our gold sponsors, Contour Media. Winding up, please make sure you contribute regularly to campaign. Keep sending those opinion and thought leadership topics to us along with your latest news, work, and appointments. We would have all this information on our website, social media platforms, and weekly newsletters. So please don't forget to subscribe and follow us in order to get the latest news and updates on our future events, our awards, our podcasts, our upcoming directories, and our special print and digital editions. Please also send us your valuable feedback on today's event by scanning the QR codes on the agenda paper in front of you so that we can work with our partners for much stronger and relevant content. Right, that's it from me. I will now hand the stage to Campaigns Editor Anup Oman, who will take today's event forward. Thank you everyone once again for attending and looking forward to seeing you all at our next breakfast briefing next year. Over to you, Anup. And as Anup slowly walks up, here's a short video on our parent company, Motivate Media Group, who are celebrating our 45th anniversary this year.
It's now widely believed that communication was the key advantage which allowed our early human ancestors to rise above their evolutionary competitors.
It is up to you to carry this message to my spies in Lilliput.
The ability to tell stories, it seems, has always been at the core of what it means to be human. And as the millennia passed, our methods and tools of communication became ever more sophisticated, expanding our search for purpose and connection, and to ultimately discover what's on. But we had to wait until June of 1979 before we got our answer.
And your host today, Ian Fairservice. Thank you very much indeed. Okay.
This is when the UAE witnessed the birth of a new communication dynasty with the launch of What's On, the Gulf's first English magazine. And with it, the first stone of what was to become the Motivate Media Group was laid.
Welcome to Motivate Publishing.
In the 45-year journey between then and now, Motivate has never wavered from its path of evolution and innovation. From print to digital, from local to global, from events to festivals, from cinema advertising to influencer agencies, from book publishing to podcasts, in-flight magazines, joint ventures, content creation, surface aerials, corporate partnerships, talent representation, and celebrity collaborations. We've been in good company along the way. We've stood on stage and celebrated the best of the region at our grandstand industry-defining award ceremonies. We've grown our family, expanded our reach, and to you, our combined audience of millions, we say thank you for being a part of this story. Our mission is, and always has been, to inspire, to create conversation, challenge convention, to communicate, innovate, and motivate, always striding forward, always in reverence of the past. Well, what does the future hold? We can't wait to show you. And we'll be there every step of the way, ready to keep you motivated for what's on the horizon.
Thank you, Nadeem, and thanks to Motivate Media Group as well. On a very good morning to all of you, our extended Campaign Middle East family. On behalf of this incredible publication, it's my honor and privilege to welcome each of you, our speakers, moderators, panelists, delegates, colleagues, partners, and well-wishers to this iteration of the Campaign Breakfast Briefing Out of Home 2025. Yes, you heard that right. The event bears 2025 in its name, as it's not only meant to be a moment to pause and reflect on how far we've progressed over the past 12 months, but is also meant to set the pace for the months ahead. I'm Anup Oman, the editor of Campaign Middle East, and it's a joy to host all of you here together for a morning of networking, collaborating, engaging with ideas, learning, brainstorming, and having fun together. I've enjoyed talking to many of you over the past few months, and I look forward to more such fruitful conversations in the months and years to come. Today, in this edition of Campaign Middle East, the Breakfast Briefing, we will take a deep dive into the out-of-home industry, which many of you belong to, which has etched an indelible mark within the brand marketing mix. Not only has out-of-home claimed its spot as a credible and highly effective form of traditional advertising, driving brand consideration, purchase intent, and business outcomes, but it has also become a highly trusted medium. Consumers have wholeheartedly embraced this as a non-intrusive medium, where privacy concerns are almost a non-issue, where true creativity stands out amidst the clutter on an unskippable, unmissable, and inescapable medium. As one of the leaders told me in conversation this morning, and I had to write this down, repetition within the city's rhythm is building familiarity, and the permanence of well-placed ads linger in the public consciousness. In an era defined by transparent metrics and data analytics, decision-making has become far more informed. Advancement in digital technologies have transformed out-of-home into a precision-targeted medium, permitting for far more personalized and relevant campaigns for specific audiences. We're moving into an era where we're analyzing precise footfall, demographics, and even behavioral patterns, which is much more a possibility now thanks to real-time and mobility data. We're talking advanced audience tracking, location-based data, and integrated third-party platforms that are beginning to give clearer insights into engagement duration as well as post-interaction behaviors. Now, all of a sudden, through this, let me say, nascent implementation of programmatic within the region, the move towards real-time optimization of campaigns and real-time trading has become more than just a pipe dream. By focusing on the real collaborations, on the right partnerships built on the cornerstones of trust and transparency, the industry now stands at a time where we have the opportunity to offer clients and advertisers greater flexibility, improved efficiencies, and far better engagement. But that's not all. There are questions that we need to collectively answer, if I dare say honestly. Can brands, media agencies, and media owners work collectively to enhance transparency across campaign planning and execution? Can better collaboration result in a smarter and more effective ecosystem that fosters innovation? There's no doubt about it. There's definitely room for improvement within the industry. Multiple leaders have spoken to me on and off the record over the past few months, sounding concerns around bureaucratic delays that plague the current approvals process. These delays not only tend to stifle creative impact, slow down campaign execution, affect brand perception, but also could be detrimental to the success of potentially impactful and large-scale campaigns. Others have shared concerns around the oversupply within the market, its domino effect on visual clutter, pricing, visibility, and quality. Still others have pointed to sustainability. I like this example that someone took this morning, that sustainability is a quiet member of this out-of-home WhatsApp group, which occasionally shares memes about solar-powered billboards or biodegradable posters and points to the benefits of new technologies, while the rest of the people on that WhatsApp group battle real-world issues around the approval system. Another major trend within out-of-home, which I've been told is likely to continue in the foreseeable future, is consolidation within the industry. Acquisitions are likely to become the norm as investors see value in what everybody has called today a resilient industry. There's conversations around AI, which are as old as they are new, if you get my drift. All said and done, what's the consensus? The out-of-home industry remains resilient and robust. The combination of investments in premium digital OOH, institutionalizing of standard measurement currencies, programmatic capabilities, as well as advanced targeting technologies guarantee this success as we drive forward to sustained industry growth. How we move forward, however, ultimately boils down to each of our choices and the conversations that we have. We're here today to learn from each other, understand how top industry leaders make it work, hear their honest and open opinions, and figure out the top takeaways that we can actually implement in our day-to-day lives. I'm excited about the conversations that we're going to have today, and I hope that you are too. Thank you, and once again, welcome the Campaign Breakfast Briefing Out of Home 2025.
Have you ever driven by a digital billboard and wondered, how do they know what I need right now? In the MENA region, outdoor media has evolved from static billboard to dynamic, data-driven screens, delivering personalized ads. What's driving the shift? What's driving the shift is the advancements in data and technology in the region, and especially in markets like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. Here's a number that might surprise you. In 2023, outdoor media, digital outdoor advertising, digital spend hit $350 million. By 2029, it's expected to double to $700 million. Now picture this. You're trying to measure the success of a billboard campaign by just counting the number of cars passing by. Sounds inefficient, right? That was the case for years. Outdoor was great in creating impact, grabbing attention, but proving its ROI was very complex because it lacked precision to link those impressions to real-world outcomes. And this is what made it very challenging for us to compare outdoor to other media channels because it wasn't backed up with data. But that's all changing today. Now imagine you're being able to pinpoint your audience's daily movement. I mean, it's scary for them, but for us, we can deliver relevant ads with measurable results. Let me show you what's possible today. You're advertising a frizz-fighting hair product. It's a rainy day, and your ad starts to run in heavy foot traffic. Or you're running an ad at a mall targeting parents who were looking for family holidays, for example. That's not the future. This is what's happening right now. Now, what does programmatic digital out-of-home provide us? Enhanced targeting, so demographic, behavior, and even real-time locations. Flexibility. We are able to optimize our campaigns on the go, making sure that the right ad is appearing to the right consumers. And dynamic content that can be adjusted based on the weather, location, time. And the result, it's campaigns that resonate and connect to our audiences. How does this benefit to each stakeholder? It's a win-win for all. For our dear advertisers, it's measured outcomes and less wasted impressions. For the media owners, it's more money, more automation. For the consumers, it's about relevance. They receive ads that they care about rather than just keep on receiving generic messages over and over again. When we talk measurement, now we moved from counting cars to understanding real impact. So today, we can measure website visits, we can measure sales uplift, and we can track the foot traffic. Advertisers don't need to guess if their outdoor campaign today is working or not. We have the reports, and we have the data in hand to know and to prove it. I'll leave you with this. It's a pivotal moment for outdoor media in the region. We have all the technology, all the data in hand to make the best out of it. All we need to do is embrace programmatic technology and data-driven insights to unlock the full potential of outdoor and drive results that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Nihal. That was quick, concise, and informative. on how advancements in data technology, metrics, and analytics are transforming OH, unlocking precision and performances, and a call to action to embrace the OH revolution at the end. Next up, we have an interesting panel that makes out-of-home reliable and credible as a form of marketing. This panel is brought to you by Arabian Outdoor, which since 1995 has served brands and advertisers with a premium out-of-home network, which today, I've been told, stretches across Dubai and Abu Dhabi. As a pioneering market leader in the UAE's outdoor marketing, Arabian Outdoor is a fully integrated media house which extends a comprehensive array of outdoor advertising vehicles, lampposts, megacoms, unipoles, bridge banners, and the Dubai Canal, and most notably, one of the largest and most strategically significant movie networks in the UAE, covering Dubai and Abu Dhabi. It's my pleasure to welcome to the stage, and put your hands together for this wonderful panel, Sahar Khan, the Vice President of Marketing at Bayat and Dubizel. Avinash Babar, the Chief Executive Officer, Insurance Market at AE. We've got Ziad Melhen, the Chief Marketing Officer, CFI Financial, and Milicha Smirja, the Director of Marketing and Comms at Alkana under Al Baraka Holding. Joining us as the moderator for the panel, we have Walid Yared, CMO of Shueri Group.
Can everyone hear me at the back? You're fine? Okay. So, thanks for being here. Thanks, Campaign Middle East, for everything they have been doing throughout the years. Special thanks to my friend Nadim, to Anoop, and to the Campaign Middle East team. Today, we'll be talking about the credibility of out-of-home advertising. Out-of-home has emerged after what some would call the brutal digital disruption as resilient and as being here. And I would like to share a couple of insights related to this. According to eMarketer, in 2024, out-of-home expenditure has grown by 5.2%, and this is exceeding any type of traditional media. Another piece of information that I found interesting is that, again, in the USA, 2024, 65% of out-of-home came from traditional, and 35% came from digital. This is going to change, of course. Expectations are that by 2028, traditional would be around 55%, and digital would account for 45% in out-of-home expenditure. So change is coming, as we all know. It cannot be stopped, and it will not be stopped. So without further ado, let us start talking about the panel. The panel, first we would like to address the perception of the consumers when it comes to out-of-home advertising. Then we look at the impact of the permanence of the out-of-home billboards and properties and their impact on trust, transparency, and credibility. We will put all of this in the era we are living, the digital-first era. And finally, we'll look at the creative principles that drive the effectiveness of out-of-home advertising. So without further ado, let us start with the first question. That I will address to Ziad and to Sahar. First of all, welcome panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do consumers prefer out-of-home to other forms of advertising, and why? Sorry. I missed the first question, that's not it. First question is to Milika, Avinash, and to Sahar. In your opinion, why is out-of-home advertising considered one of the most reliable and credible forms of traditional marketing?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's very good to be here. So when I was approached for this panel, I actually was very excited to be on it because this is something very close to my heart and I personally pay very close attention to on the kind of messaging that's going out there with respect to both brands, Payut and Abizzle. So I would say not just as traditional marketing, I think outdoor marketing has become a very important part of overall marketing for any brand, if they can obviously afford to do so. Because in the age that we're in, with the kind of, I would call it pollution digital marketing has, everyone and anyone is on digital platforms. So in order for us to, show our strength as a strong brand, and you also touched on this, with respect to the perception, so changing or elevating or, even creating perception for a particular brand is very important. And you can easily do that with outdoor marketing. Going out of home is fine, surely, a form of traditional marketing, but it's something that, as a consumer, you cannot unsee once you've seen something. It's not intrusive, it's reliable and credible because, you can easily choose not to pick up a magazine or switch the radio channel, but you cannot, like I said, unsee something that you've seen outdoor. So I would 100% say that it is one of the most credible and reliable forms of marketing today, especially in this region.
Who's next?
I can go next,
Sure.
if you don't mind, please.
Sure, go for it.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today, and thank you so much for this is such a good question, actually, and it's a good question for not only representatives of the agencies, but also for marketeers as well. So having in mind the strategic locations of the out-of-home positions in a high-traffic areas, out-of-home has an opportunity to speak to a much broader audiences. That makes if your brand is actually advertising on out-of-home, that makes your brand more recognizable, and it makes your brand awareness much more higher. If you advertise on out-of-home and not only choose the digital platform. As you just mentioned, yes, I agree 100%. When you are on the digital platforms, you can easily skip the ads. You can easily go and see something else. However, when you're looking at the brands that are advertising on out-of-home positions, that's not so easy for you to skip, and it's not so easy for you to actually disregard any kind of ads that are on out-of-home positions, because those ads don't fight for your attention as do digital ads are doing. Another very important thing that I would like to mention is when it comes to the credibility of overall out-of-home positions that we're talking about it today. The whole physical and tangible nature of the out-of-home ads, of the out-of-home positions, and the brands that are actually advertising there are looked in a consumer's eyes as a brands that are well established, brands that are actually investing in their future. And the last but not the least, for me as a marketeer, out-of-home presents a very important part of the overall customer journey in the marketing campaign, because I have an opportunity, if I'm advertising on out-of-home positions, I have an opportunity not only to catch attention of my potential consumers when they are on their phones, but also I can, with out-of-home, I can follow them throughout their whole day.
Up to you, Avinash.
So the question is, why outdoor advertising? Why is outdoor advertising so great? So I think I'm preaching to the choir here, but it is great. I truly believe in it. I think my journey with outdoor started about 8-9 years ago. Before that, we were doing a lot of radio. We did consistent radio for about 6-7 years. And, what we found with that is the brand was getting built, and, to acquire customers, we've got to bid on Google. So, the Google bids were coming down, but the leads were consistent. So, it was a good sign. We were very happy. Then, we said, let's give outdoor a shot. We took a bridge banner on Sheikh Zayed Road. And the moment I saw that bridge banner, I was like, oops, I think I'm in trouble. Because I knew I was going to get hooked to this. So it became a bit of an addiction. I'm still a bit addicted. My CFO thinks I buy too much outdoor advertising, but it's clearly working. And I think the core reason is barriers to entry. So when you're everywhere else, firstly, the consumer knows that you can be trusted and you're credible. But competitors get extremely scared of trying to advertise because they will not be able to match up to your scale. So credibility, barriers to entry, trust, we know all of this already. But the reality today is, and I attribute a lot of this value to outdoor, the reality is today that no matter what we bid on Google, we're always number one on Google Ads. And even in terms of SEO, we're always number one. And I attribute that to the brand that we've built. And I think a lot of that has been contributed to by outdoor advertising.
Great.
So thank you all for your support.
So we've heard the advertiser's point of view, which is really very good. If you are happy, it's very good. But I believe that we all need the consumers to be happy so that you would reap the benefits of whatever you're doing. So according to you, Ziad and Sahar, what do consumers prefer in out of home when it comes to comparing it to other forms of advertising? Some of you have touched a little bit to this, but let us know. Why do you think the consumers would prefer outdoor to other forms of media?
Good morning. Thank you, Walid. I think consumers do prefer out-of-home advertisement in a way because it just comes natural. It just goes with the flow without any interruption. I mean, if we compare it to other types of advertisements, if we take the online, let's say, advertisement, whenever I'm seeing an ad, most of the time it's when I get interrupted. If I'm watching a video, let's say on YouTube, and an ad pops up, I get interrupted. If I'm reading an article, I get interrupted. If I am browsing if I'm playing a game, let's say on an app, and a digital app ad pops up, I'm interrupted. However, when it comes to out of home, I don't really get interrupted. I keep doing what I'm doing. I just don't park the car on the side just to look at an ad. I keep driving. I keep biking. I keep walking. I just see it. It goes natural. It goes with the flow, and that's very important. And we see it everywhere. We see it on the highways. We see it on the roads. We see it in city center. And I guess in UAE, we're lucky to be able to advertise on landmarks as well as to advertise on iconic buildings or iconic highways and so on. And this is important for us when we advertise, as well as it delivers the right message to the consumer. I mean, the guy next to me, Avinash, was able to advertise or to take over a full metro station, and that's an iconic building. Let's say even name it. This is very important because how would I say it? It transfers this premiumity as a premium building to the brand itself, and it goes like natural. It goes easy. With the consumer, because he's looking at this brand, he's able to feel this positive emotional connection with that brand in a very smooth way without even putting an effort or thinking about it. The last point about this is we're lucky also to be in a country where everything is high level, like from high quality from the people, from the roads, from the buildings, from the towers, even to the outdoor ads, and it just blends in the environment. Now, if you drive on certain highways or in certain roads, you see these billboards or you see these outdoor ads. If you remove them, you feel that there's something wrong. It doesn't look as good as it looks now, and it's very good for the outdoor ads to blend with the natural landscape or with the natural environment or natural view that we see every day. And I guess this is important for the consumer, and this is why they might feel it's like more natural and more acceptable without being annoying as might other types of advertisements make them feel.
Sahar.
So I would say, consumers, if I'm completely honest, I don't think they care for, intrusion in their lives, right? So like, Ziad also mentioned, non-intrusive outdoor advertising is non-intrusive and you go by your way. But also I think consumers are looking from advertisers, they're looking for something that solves their problems, the challenges that they're facing. So as long as your messaging is resonating with what the consumers want, then you're hitting your target, in the right manner. So, for example, in the real estate industry, with Bayouth, what we're advertising is exactly solving or looking out for the consumers' troubles and challenges that they face when they're looking for that property, that perfect property. So even if you look at our latest campaign, it is focused on real data, real properties, real pictures. Now with our latest campaign on Hessa, with our billboard, obviously we were digitally present with our campaigns for True Broker, but you can see the True Brokers on Hessa, on that largest billboard that we have over there. And another thing I would like to add is, why out of home it becomes important for consumers is, no matter how many campaigns we conduct on all social platforms, digitally, Google, everywhere, the most I get to hear about a campaign from my own friends and family and different circles, social circles, is when we're outdoors. So they're like, you guys are everywhere, so you're crushing the campaign. And so it's an important part of overall marketing, not just traditional marketing.
Yes, that is true. Anyway, what we covered right now is it's not annoying, it's not intrusive, it blends in the setup, it is there. And I totally agree with you because we've had this experience several times with clients who run an advertisement outdoor, and whatever you do, if they don't have one display that is near their home or on their way, they would have the feeling that no, it's not working. And I will not take it to that extreme, but on the other hand, if you put a couple of billboards in front of their house and nothing else, they would feel very happy about it. So of course this is stretched to the maximum, but yes, it makes sense. There is this part that also plays.
And just to add to that, and you can really hit your competitors, weak point with this as well, by advertising on their building or right in front of it. So.
Definitely. Yeah, because in our part of the world, competitive advertising is not allowed, but this is an indirect form of competitive advertisements. So, getting to the permanence of billboards. By permanence, we mean that it is there and it stays for a long time to be seen, to be displayed, etc. How does that impact on the concepts of trust, of transparency, and of credibility? So this question is to you, Ziad.
At CFI, we think that permanent billboards and outdoor advertisement usually signal trust because they show commitment and stability of the brand. Also, when consumers usually see companies investing in permanent, long-term outdoor locations, it signals confidence, it signals trust in the brand. Also, we're in a country where competition is fierce, as well as reputation and quality is something major in this country. So it's important to show the consumer that you are a confident brand and you're very serious about your image. Now, I think also with the right, if you're doing outdoor advertisement and that outdoor advertisement is permanent, you're choosing the right frequency, and what's more important also is the right messaging. This usually will make the consumer remember your brand and be able to recall it. And that's a very important factor to start building this relation with your brand, start building this positive emotional connection with your brand. The more you have this frequency, the more you have the name out there, this is something important for brands to win. The moment there is this positive relationship or emotional feeling towards this brand, it means that the consumer will feel that this brand is trustworthy, he's confident about it, it's stable, it can solve his problems, it can satisfy his needs, and I think this is an ideal goal for any marketeer, to be able to achieve the goal related to how consumers would perceive your brand. So in my opinion and my experience, I think outdoor advertisement would contribute to the very important goal, which is how would consumers perceive your brand.
Great. So all we've been talking about, we did not really focus on what I called earlier the digital first era we're living in. So how do these considerations play in digital, on the digital part? As we've seen, like in one of the most developed markets of the world, digital still accounts for only 35% right now, but it is growing, and it is inevitable that it will grow, and probably it will take over with time. But how does all we've talked about play in the digital era? That is for you, Avinash and Sahar. Sorry, and anyway, anyone who would like to jump in at any point, like you can, okay, please.
I think this discussion is very important to hold, especially in this age where we have digital mediums. Because, like I mentioned earlier, all brands, anyone and everyone is able to advertise on digital platforms, right? So to touch the top of the pyramid as advertisers, I feel it's very important to have a 360, look to marketing. And especially in the region we're in, with Dubai, you can easily compare it with New York, or other bigger cities, where outdoor advertising is considered prestigious, and brands that are outdoors have a very strong presence, and a name and a recognition with respect to their clients and consumers alike. So it's important to have that distinction if you want to show your strength as a brand. Whether or not you're a household name like De Bizzle, whether you already, most of the people in the city, in the country, are already aware of these brands. But that strong mindset that comes from, comes with trust and credibility, comes when you see that brand everywhere and not just digitally.
So Walid, you said 35% of advertising is digital, right? So that's by revenue, or by revenue?
That's by revenue,
But probably my guess is by inventory, 10%.
So
I could be wrong.
No, you mean that the power ratio of digital is much higher? That's what you're saying? That 10% is, in inventory terms, is digital, while the revenue is 35%.
Yeah, would that be about right?
I don't have
no idea.
I can check this. And
I'm not an expert, but this is what I would guess, because whenever we've received proposals for digital, I find it a little bit more challenging to take the leap. Now, that said, it's a digital transformation. So we as insurancemarket.ae also started as a digital brand, and we realized that a lot of things in insurance have to happen offline, and then it's a slow process towards the inevitable digital transformation of our business. It might be similar in outdoor advertising. For us, we can measure Facebook ads or Instagram ads, right? But we choose to invest more in outdoor because it helps build our brand. It puts us out there. We've spoken about trust and credibility. So when it comes to digital outdoor, for me as a customer or a buyer of advertising, does the measurement really excite me that much? I don't know yet. There's something about a static billboard that's more permanent than a digital where you're sharing with 4 or 5 other brands. There's so much noise around us. I don't know if this creates more noise or not. So maybe I'm old-fashioned, or maybe this is the journey we need to go on. But I'm not 100% sure that digital is the foregone conclusion. I think there is we need to innovate more and make it more compelling for clients.
Can I just add one more thing here, please, if you don't mind? One size doesn't fit all. It all depends actually on the product. But before the product, it comes to KPIs. What do you as a marketeer trying to achieve with that specific product? Do you want to achieve awareness? Do you want to achieve consideration? Do you want to achieve a conversion? Is your brand currently at a situation where you need a quick fix as well? So it all depends on the state of the business actually, and how are you gonna, based on the state of the business, how are you as a marketeer gonna create a strategy that's gonna drive that business forward, that's gonna drive that business successfully moving forward? For some businesses, digital actually works. And they just advertise on digital for smaller businesses, and they maybe not be interested in a big scale size out of home locations. But for most businesses, me as marketeer, when I'm advertising, when I'm doing the campaigns, and also when I'm talking with my fellow colleagues as well, there has to be like a full circle for the customer closed so that you make them act. They need to act upon your marketing campaign to either get engaged with your brand in some kind of way or to purchase your brand in the end in some kind of way.
Yeah, it all boils down to optimizing your marketing, whatever the target is and whatever you're trying to achieve. This is completely clear. So we talked about the impact on the consumers, and I believe that creativity is very important because we often see brands doing exactly the same thing that other brands have done. Brands that would be like having a similar product in the same vertical, one would succeed and one would not succeed. I believe that creativity plays there a very, very important and crucial role. So according to you, Melika and Avinash, what would be the principles that would push the effectiveness of out-of-home advertising?
It's Melitza, actually, but thank you. It's okay.
Not case. I need to pronounce it C-A. Melissa?
Yeah.
Sorry, Melissa.
It's okay, no worries.
No, I said
corrected. No worries. So yeah, we live in a world where video and a picture speaks louder than words, right? And especially so, for example, when it comes to out-of-home advertising that we're talking about today, we don't have that much time, right, to capture the attention of, let's say, commuters who are going to work in the morning. So I strongly believe that we should embrace simplicity, and that simplicity can bring us results in creativity. But throughout my career, there is a recipe that is kind of following me when it comes to the design and execution of out of home, but not only out of home, of other channels as well. And that's the following. So the visual that you're communicating to your customers with has to be either funny, Instagrammable, or interesting. Just let me explain that. So, for example, funny, if you see a humorous or a funny visual, that's kind of gonna stick with you, and you're gonna be thinking about that. That's kind of gonna dwell with you throughout the day. It's gonna spark something in you. Like we have, for example, Alfred from Insurance Market. Alfred is very, very famous, right? And everyone knows Alfred, that small, cheeky man, you know, that is very recognizable. So that's the funny part. The Instagrammable part that we can see now that is very, very popular among luxury brands. So we can see like different kind of visuals, let's say, of beautiful jewelry with beautiful colors as well. Very simple, but very, very effective. Now, real estate, for example, has moved towards those Instagrammable visuals where they're presenting us beautiful homes and beautiful houses and like beautiful people in those houses who are smiling at us, you know. And the third one that is interesting actually can be emotional, and visual can make you think. It can make you think about the certain topics that are quite close to you as an individual, close to your heart. I'm going to give you an example. I don't know who has done this campaign, but I really, really like this campaign. I have seen it a couple of days ago. I was driving to Dubai for a meeting. Dubai 30-30 Challenge. So they have used several visuals in this campaign, and all of these visuals are communicating community. How we as a community need to come together, and we as a community need to train together. And it's such a beautiful message to send to the consumers, you know, about that fitness challenge. That's an essence of their brand. They have managed actually in that one visual to summarize the overall essence of that brand and what Dubai Fitness Challenge actually represents.
Yeah, so I think we all know the normal things, but you know, we know them. Do we implement them successfully? I don't know, but yeah, you don't want clutter. You don't want too much text. You know, you want to be able to make your point in a very succinct way when it comes to creative and creativity. But I think you can go beyond that. So in our case, as we referred to, you know, the metro naming rights was a more creative way of, you know, putting us out there and engaging with the community. You know, but even beyond that, I think creativity and innovation should be in everything we do. So even how we structure these advertising deals, you know, there are many ideas out there. You spoke about, you know, the luxury segments, right? So I think there's something to learn from the collabs that have been happening. Why can't collabs happen with homegrown brands or brands here? You know, Alfred drinks this brand of water, or Alfred wears this sneaker, or whatever it may be, you know, happy to go in 50-50 with another brand, and let's do a campaign together. It'll be exciting, it'll be fun, it'll be Instagrammable, right? You have the clients, you know, let's get together and do something. So I think we can be creative in many ways, and, you know, I think it'll be, the sum will be greater than the parts. Can also be creative in you know, how strategically, you know, two companies can work together, the kind of contracts we sign, which give us access to inventory in more creative ways. So I think, yeah, creativity and innovation should be across the board in everything we do, and there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Great, great. Since Nadeem has given me the sign, I have to stop, but I have one final question to the audience and to yourselves. First of all, in the audience, who are advertisers? Please raise your hands. Any advertisers in the room? Okay, very few. Anyway, but I will still ask the question that includes you. Who would be increasing their out-of-home spending budgets next year? Raise your hand. Okay, there is some. Not bad, not bad. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was the end of round one. We enter round two of this battle. Thank you once again for that wonderful discussion. It was very nice to hear how, from a consumer point of view, things haven't changed. Brand perception of out-of-home remains strong. Everyone who is advertising and out-of-home still is perceived as strong, prestigious, stable, trusted, credible. And there's a call out for what a marketer is going to do about all of this. How we're going to solve a problem. I like the way Saha said it. How we're going to solve a problem through messaging. How we're going to solve the problem for consumers through creativity. Next up, for the second panel of the day, we have the journey. How the journey to programmatic is just as valuable as the destination. This panel is brought to us by Backlight Media. Before I call the panelists on stage, here's a short video about them. I just heard someone say nice video. It's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Sean Gatsby, Head of Programmatic Backlight Media. Clearly someone's famous. Andrew Hamblin, Chief Revenue Officer, LDSK. Ashni Thakur, Senior Account Manager, The Trade Desk. Yasmin Al-Turk, Advanced DOH and Digital Supply Group, Amina. There's a lot of excitement in this room this morning. Very good. And our moderator for the day, James Harrison, Chief Product Officer, Backlight Media. James, take it away.
Morning. Morning still. These look like the most comfortable chairs, so I'll try and sit in my most professional manner I can. It's quite a long title. It's quite a long title, but to be honest, so is the journey to programmatic. So we have been 3 different countries this year. We've been to South Africa in Cape Town. We've been to Hong Kong. We've been to Italy with the World Out of Home organization. And at every venue, every country, one of the biggest buzzwords, one of the biggest topics that we've been talking about has been programmatic digital out of home. This region, we have been talking about it for, well, at least the past 4 or 5 years. But really, that journey to get there, we've had to overcome some other obstacles, some other things that have been in the way to make it a truly valid way of buying out of home. We've even gone to the extent of publishing a white paper through the IAB as well. So there's been a lot of work that goes in behind it. So probably the best people to have to chat about programmatic digital out of home are the people we have here. We have Global DSP, we have Global Agency, we have Global Tech, and we have Sean.
I knew that was coming.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. It's also really good to be able to sit with people that I've worked with and communicate. And we're really trying to drive this part of the industry. Looking at the fact that 35% of the revenues are currently through digital, this is only going to grow. And you can look at that with all the global trends. We have probably a really great position here in the region where we actually have a strong performing out-of-home industry. But I believe we're on a great footing to make that even bigger and even better with the true embrace of what digital can really offer. So I've got questions, but potentially we'll go off topic. I don't want to throw too many curveballs at you guys, but the first one for me, and it's probably something that we've discussed and things that have been asked of me over the years, is the outdoor industry has been moving along perfectly fine. Why are we trying to change it? What are we trying to do? Why do we have to make it different? And I'm going to aim that at anyone. No, I'm going to aim that at you, Andy. You are tech, and I'll probably lean on you, Sean, for this one as well.
Okay. I'm tech, but I'm also a dinosaur, so I've been in the out-of-home industry for about 20 years.
Technical dinosaur.
Yeah,
Good.
Technical dinosaur. That's a good description. But I suppose you could ask the question of why are we doing anything? Like why do we change from an analog watch into a digital watch, or why do we drive electric cars instead of getting on a horse? There's human nature is to change and develop. In out-of-home, I think it's a bit simpler than that. I think we're changing and developing so that we can give more effective solutions to advertisers. So for me, that means in technology, that's accuracy, that's speed, and that's effectiveness. So I guess over the history of out-of-home, you've gone from posters to scrollers, you've gone from scrollers to digital screens, and digital screens are turning into highly effective targeted communications channels. But that kind of doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't get rid of the classic in order to just have the digital. I mean, we've got on the stage a really good example of that. We've got all of the brand building that you get on the posters, and you've got the targeted precision that you get from a digital screen. And I think that's something to consider as well.
Okay, so in terms of the evolution of static into digital and then towards programmatic, Sean, why are we pushing this agenda?
I think it's really important to, just based on your question, to say straight off the bat, it's not broken. It doesn't necessarily need fixing. It's more to do with we can do much more. We can do way better, and that's thanks to the advancements of advertising technology, mainly in terms of this topic, programmatic. So there's so much opportunity that advertising technology has afforded us, greater than the traditional methods that we use as of today and we have used in the past. And I kind of break that into two opportunities. Firstly, the opportunity to do better for our clients. So we're talking about programmatic digital out of home and what those kind of, I would label it as accountability for our medium, which I suppose in the past we maybe have shirked a little bit. So efficiencies, targeting, flexibility, performance, and all the while plugging in audience data as well. So those capabilities effectively make for greater campaigns for our clients. And of course, the way to automate that process is being API'd or plugged into these programmatic platforms. So the first opportunity is to give greater campaigns and greater performance metrics to our clients, which is obviously one of our key responsibilities. We want our clients to have greater campaigns, to see greater results, to see greater ROI. And we've reached that point where we can provide that now. And then secondly, the growth opportunity in our own media. More and more clients are moving to omni-channel planning. And basically, on the demand-side platform, digital out-of-home needs to be in that space right now. We need to be talking in the same language as our other competitors, if you like, in the media mix.
So with the whole media mix, with the whole campaign planning, question to Yasmin, Ashni. Now, are people currently booking digital out of home with their digital? Is there this connection yet where people are actually making these things happen like that?
Yeah, I can probably start with that. From a DSP perspective, absolutely. We obviously work very closely with agencies, and I'll let Yasmin expand on this, but I think advertisers, agency clients, they're starting to see the importance of omnichannel, and digital out of home fits seemingly well into reaching consumers across their daily journey, reaching them through different touch points, whether that's audio, video, obviously digital out of home, especially when it comes to reaching consumers during their commute, on the way to work, on the way home from work, again, reaching them later on via other channels. And I guess cross-measurement across the different channels that you are activating, including digital out of home. So we obviously work with best-in-class measurement partners to understand the uplift that we have across other channels, including digital out of home, into your media mix. And we're definitely seeing an increase in that across agency activation as well. I'll let Yasmin discuss the examples of brands, but we've seen activations across Qatar Airways. Tourism and travel is a big one. That vertical is huge when it comes to out-of-home activation, and we've started to see that more this year. Another example is Abu Dhabi Tourism. We ran a campaign last year, including digital out of home as well as CTV and display, to show the importance and impact of omnichannel when it comes to brand awareness and reaching the right audiences at the right time.
Omnichannel is the dream for us poster Luddites. I think that's where, when people are thinking, right, we're going to include out of home, there's always been this, I've brought up in the UK market where we have a poster specialist. Now, the way that is, it's too complicated. Is it easy? I've kind of haven't sat in the chair of an agency for a very long time, but is it easy to plan and buy out of home alongside of everything else, Yasmin?
I wouldn't say. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
I would say, honestly, until, programmatic has been, around, like you said, we've been talking about it for years. Digital out of home, of course, although we have been speaking about it for a couple of years now, we've only seen it really kick off, I would say, from this year. We've seen a huge involvement, and we've seen clients have an appetite for it. It's from the client side, it's definitely growing. They want to see more of what we can do and how we can do it and how we can prove not just on siloing planning, having a siloed planning approach, but rather seeing how we can implement programmatic digital out of home across the whole media mix. And it's not been, I wouldn't say it's been challenging. I would say we have now technology, of course, now to be able to effectively do that. Each and every client is different. It depends, what their objectives are, what their KPIs are, what's important to them. But if we are able to understand essentially what outcomes they're looking for, what is important, what's valuable to them, then we can take a step back, look across all channels, and then figure out the right mix. And we've been doing that.
So we've all referenced the fact that it's been around for a while, but it's taking time to really kick off. Now, is that Sean's fault? Is that Andy's fault? Is that DSP agency? Where do you think the problems or the delays have really stemmed from? And I'm going to ask. I'm asking Yasmin again. You can't have time here.
Well, if we look at if we look at the scale that's available on programmatic digital out of home, it's very limited compared to what we're seeing, the appetite, like I just said. The client's appetite is there. There is a need for, there's a barrier to entry for a lot of clients as well. They're not able to invest in out of home. So if we're able to now bring in the flexibility, data-driven approach that programmatic brings, then we as, I think, across, all parties involved, need to work together in more of a collaborative approach. And I think that's what's been missing. We don't see scale growing on programmatic to the same are at the same speed as what clients and what agencies are pushing for. I think.
And I totally agree with that, because
and I actually think, Sean, I mean, from Backlight's perspective, because you were one of the ones, I think, first ones, or one of the first.
Yeah, I think that critical mass in terms of volume of screens is something that we're missing, but we are picking up speed quite quickly. At Backlight, we've now expanded the programmatic network into the Viola screens in Abu Dhabi as well. But I think it comes down to the characteristics of the market. There's no one major media player that has a critical mass of screens across both Abu Dhabi, even include the Northern Emirates. Like, what I always compare it to, there's no JC Deco as such, like JC Deco UK or a Clear Channel Europe that has 2,000, 3,000 digital units. We were in Milan last week for the World Out of Home, and Stroa in Germany have 46,000 screens across Germany in a programmatic network. That's heaven to me, but no one in this region can do that. So we needed that element of collaboration. So we kind of started as, I suppose, like a unique programmatic task force between media owners. So now Elevision and the gang are doing programmatic. We've got JC Deco and Dubai Airport starting next year. So between us, we're creating that critical mass which no one media owner could do on their own.
Yeah. So, just important to say, from a global perspective, this is not a unique problem. So this isn't just about this region. Everywhere in the world is going through the same process. The automation process, the access to different inventory from different organizations. But effectively what Yasmin is saying is that in order to target all of the touch points in a journey that you might talk about from an out-of-home perspective, you'd like to be able to see all of them. So you'd like to be able to target somebody when they come out of a building on a digital screen, when they get on a train on a digital screen, when they get to their office on a digital screen, when they're in their car on a digital screen. You'd like to be able to have all of those touch points to complete the consumer journey. And in order to do that, it takes collaboration and a bit of time.
You've teed up my next question perfectly. So we all talk, we're talking programmatic here. We're talking about the journey to programmatic. Now, the journey to programmatic is finding true automation within your business. Now, what is the difference between automation and programmatic? Andy Hamlin, speak to me.
So at a basic level, automation is about making tasks that you do every day that maybe take you a load of time simple and easy to do. And programmatic is a type of automation. So programmatic is automating both the targeting of an audience and a transaction in an automation that you can do very fast. So if you think about that in practical terms, I could probably ring 5 people in this room and get a fairly decent out-of-home campaign across the whole of Dubai. But what I'd have to do in order to do that would be to book locations for a number of weeks instead of targeting a very specific audience in really granular format. So I can do that with 5 phone calls. If I had to make those 5 phone calls every 10 seconds in order to target that audience that I wanted to reach, I couldn't do it. So programmatic basically makes that possible. So instead of making 5 phone calls every 10 seconds, a system does that for me and creates the transaction that targets the audience on behalf of the advertiser. So they're one in the same thing. Programmatic is a type of automation, but you also need some automation behind it to make it really work for publishers.
Okay. Now, as far as programmatic in the online world, obviously that's been going very well, and you see value in that and the way that online is planned. But what do you see? What are your expectations of programmatic digital out of home? I'm asking Ashni. You've obviously opened an office here, so there's a value here, and we've obviously been pushing you for bigger budgets. What's going on?
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's the future?
I firstly want to just point out as I mentioned earlier in my previous answer, the importance of staying omnichannel and including programmatic digital out-of-home into your media mix is exceptionally important. I think for programmatic digital out-of-home specifically in this market, and actually when I was doing a bit of digging on stats, I came across a really interesting stat from our trade desk editorial platform, The Current, which states by 2028, digital out-of-home in our region specifically is expected to double to just over $616 million. So I think that in itself just shows the growth potential, and personally what we've seen within the last year of opening up the office here and being present on the ground follows that trend. I think just capabilities around targeting, whether that's mobile impression targeting, specifically just talking about our platform, we have the ability to collect user IDs by default. We can then look deeper into that data against audience reach percentage, understanding high impact users, mid impact users, low impact users, again, allowing us to advise our clients on where to spend their budget, what users they should be reaching, who they've been exposed to previously, and who might be net new clients or customers, sorry. And then also when it comes to triggers, we started to evolve with weather targeting, weather triggers, time of day targeting, and then we bring in the conversation around DCO, creatives, different creative messaging depending on the time of day where you're trying to reach your users. So I think the evolution of programmatic digital out-of-home, we're just at the start of it. I think there's a lot more to come. And yeah, like Sean mentioned, we're bringing on board airport screens, spectacular screens that are going to become available programmatically. Just shows, yeah, the trajectory there and where we're headed.
Yeah, I think the wider market collaboration amongst media owners is essential to provide that scale. I was on one of these panels 4 years ago, and I said the same thing, and we are getting there. We also, at the time, we were at the very early stages of having the right data to make sure that we can truly transact programmatically, and we've got that now. Sean, what do you think what are the barriers? We talk about, I like we can do the changing content based on weather, and it's always sunny. It really works in the UK when the weather changes every 20 minutes, but here that's a difficult one. But what do you think the challenges are that we're facing at the moment?
Content.
Just probably content, yeah.
I think overall collaboration in the market, perhaps, but also I think there's an education piece that needs to take place before that happens, and that's everyone's lookout. So everyone in the programmatic flow, if you're a publisher offering up your screens, supply-side platforms, demand-side platforms, agencies, we all owe it to each other to take part in this education piece. I think we talked previously about how we're slightly behind the UK in terms of market maturity when it comes to programmatic, perhaps 5 to 7 years. They've been trading now for 5 to 7 years, so the time is now to start speaking about this, and it's all of our duties, whether it's an agency, whether it's the trade desk, whether it's on myself as a publisher, to bring people up to speed, to make them feel comfortable with the process, to help them understand the data, to help them understand what an impression multiplier is, what is one-to-one versus one-to-many when it comes to impression data. Ultimately, education. And I guess that's why we're here now, to raise awareness.
Sorry, just you said collaboration at the start. Again, it's quite important to point out that collaboration means that you work together. It doesn't mean that you lose your secret sauce as a media owner. So you can all have your own data sets. You can all have your own screens, your own technology that sits behind it. As long as you're providing these guys the data that they're requesting in some format, you can use anything that you want. So you can still all be independent and still work collaboratively. So it doesn't change that.
So Yasmin, so in terms of that growth of programmatic, do you see that as taking money from outdoor, or do you see that we're taking money from programmatic online or online digital?
Well, I mean, I think we've seen the growth numbers. We can see what we expect in the coming years. I don't think it's about really taking from one or the other. I think now we're in a place where we can, really show the impact. We're not looking at just impressions or face value, what's the performance, but really what impact we're able to drive. Like, obviously, we can measure on outdoor itself. There's BLS, there's footfall attribution, there's sales uplift, but beyond that, we can also go into creating, custom measurement frameworks for our clients. We can understand across different, we heard it in the previous panel, I think. It was like, the uplift in search and social and outside of what we just see on outdoor. So it's not just about maybe taking one from one channel to the other, but more about finding the right mix for each of the clients, because Sean said it earlier, we're all accountable from a media owner's perspective, as a media planning perspective as well, to ensure that we're coming up with the right media mix and proving that these are working together and not just as a siloed platform. Programmatic digital out-of-home is definitely not siloed. We're putting it in an omni-channel, cross-channel approach. And not just across programmatic, but across other channels as well.
Yeah, I see the constant look and focus on out of home, and we're all here, majority here focused on out of home, but really we are part of the bigger media mix, and it's not just about fighting for billboard share. This is about looking at the whole omni-channel approach as well. I don't know if you've seen or if you've come across any studies talking about how well online and digital out of home or classic out of home works together, but that's the kind of thing I think we need to be talking about more. That real probably one boosting the other, that awareness. I've seen studies in the past, but I've not seen anything in this region. Have you seen any of those studies, or is that research that we can do?
It is research we can do, and we're doing it now. Like I said, we have our marketing science team, so that's what we do with them in collaboration. We have some studies coming out, so hopefully there will be some from this region soon, and we'll be able to, share that pretty soon. But for now, we know internally how these are. We've seen global researches on how this is impacting, again, not just search uplift, social as well, sales uplift. I mean, there's the possibilities are endless, really. And it's not just about utilizing the data when and during a campaign, but being able to take that, enhance it, and utilize it across all channels and on an always-on approach. So it's not just a campaign-by-campaign basis, but an overall, how does this drive impact for our clients?
Well, that is a perfect way of finishing off. The opportunities are endless. So thank you very much. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think this one's not working.
What a wonderful discussion. Clearly, we had this discussion 4 years ago, but it's come a way. It's come a long way from 4 years. We still need to go a mile before we reach critical mass on to make the most of programmatic. But they've made the case why we need it. We need it for accuracy, speed, effectiveness. We can do more. We can do better. And there's a need to drive greater results for clients and advertisers. There's a possibility to do this through omnichannel. And there is a need for greater collaboration. As they rightly said, there's a need for education before collaboration. What a wonderful discussion. Without further ado, let's move into the third panel of the day. I've had my cup of coffee, so I'm awake. I hope you have too. The third panel of the day builds on the conversation of AI and how to harness it for impactful advertising. This panel is brought to you by Hypermedia, so we're going to have a short video about them. Wonderful. It's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Hisham Ojar, the Chief Product and Services Officer, MENA at Group M. Wonderful. Chris Solomey, Chief Digital Officer, Omnicom Media Group. Hamad Ben-Yaloun, Co-founder and CEO of AICO. And Hugh Rainier, Digital Director, Havas Media, Middle East. As well as our moderator for the panel, Ghada El-Khari, CMO of W Group Holding. Ghada, the mic's over to you.
Thank you so much, Anu. Thank you all. And first of all, I would like to thank Nadim, Motivate, and all the team. Congratulations once again for 45 years of an amazing journey. We're very proud of that. And congratulations to Dubai Internet City as well for 25 years. These are amazing milestones in this environment. And I'm very, very happy to be part of this for also 22 years. So thank you so much for my esteemed panel. And we're very excited. Maybe the video you've seen is not the usual hypermedia video. We would wanted to show you something new related to this panel. And I'm very, very proud to be part of W Group, really pushing the boundaries and driving the innovation in that landscape of digital out-of-home transformation. So it's a pivotal moment for us, and it's a pivotal moment for the industry. And that's why we have a hot topic to discuss today, right? First of all, this is, as I mentioned, this is really a very interesting topic, and for very few, they really know the importance of the digital transformation within out-of-home industry nowadays. And I'm not talking for the future, we're talking about the now, right? And we would like to give more insights about where this industry is going and how this really can shape up the digital out-of-home conversation in the coming months, and especially 2025 moving forwards. So I'm not going to be naming anyone. Please pitch in whatever you think it's relevant mainly to your business and to your clients and brands. So how do you really envision this landscape moving forward? I think we can't really say for the next 5 years, because every year, every month, there's something new in this space. So how do you envision this transformation, and specifically in the AI?
I'll start. I think the fundamental point is that out-of-home works. So we know that 79% of consumers actually pay attention to out-of-home. Almost half of them, it's better. Almost half of them would search for a product after being exposed to an out-of-home ad. So I think the question is, how would AI improve a medium that already works? And I see it in 3 shifts. I think the first shift is closer to home. It's more within the agency world. So what we've seen really since the beginning of digital out-of-home is that digital out-of-home is breaking down silos in our organization. What do I mean by that? You now have programmatic teams working with out-of-home teams, which wasn't something that we used to do in the agency world. So that's a huge shift for us. I think the second shift is probably that we're moving from what I would call static intelligence to dynamic intelligence. So with digital out-of-home, I think it was discussed in previous panels, you can use precise audience targeting, dynamic creative, and the list goes on and on. And I think last but not least, we know out-of-home works, but now we have better measurement. So what that is it means we're able to make better proof points to our clients as to what's working, what's not working, and therefore we have the data to also continuously improve.
Chris?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head on a lot of things. I think the most interesting part of the medium for me, that's from a digitization point of view, is the fact that you're getting all this data for measurement. I think it was James that asked, is there any definitive study on how channels work together? Yes, there is. It's called Beyond the Pair, Journal of Marketing. If you read, it's by Felipe Tomas. What he looked at is, and it's a new paper, and he looks at the synergies between different channels. It's a 10-year study, on massive data set. And the interesting that it finds is that he saw a lot of homogeneity between how media planners plan. They're all just going for reach. And that doesn't correlate with all of the different kind of brand outcomes you want. And the point of measurement is the important piece, that when when you're running outdoor, the medium isn't going to change. The fact that the screen is there, you're still reaching lots of people. The really interesting part about it is just all the data you get. So you get an enormous amount of data, log-level data on how much you spent, where was the ad running, and it's a permanent store of records. So you can use that data to fuel your measurement, in particular, really sophisticated agile MMM. And I think that's the key. The agile MMM piece is the budget for unmeasured media is 0. The more you can measure your media and measure the long-term effects of media, so I think most advertising doesn't work in the short term. The vast majority of advertising effects are long-term, and so you need complex long-term measurement. When you're able to measure and see the true return on investment of advertising long-term, then the medium will grow. And so I think this is only going to be a net benefit for outdoor, because you're going to have more measurability, you're going to be able to track the long-term impact of it, rather than just measuring the short-term effect of it, where you're not really capturing the full ROI. So that's what I'm interested in. That of course, you're going to have all the nice fancy shit. You're going to, sorry, I shouldn't say that word, but the nice fancy stuff. You're going to be able to do, targeting, better targeting, from using live data. You've got a digital screen, but I think the really exciting bit is the measurement piece, because I think it will lead to long-term growth for the medium and better use of the medium.
Absolutely. And from a tech perspective, as a tech partner, Hamad, where do you see that?
Well, it's great to see such an excitement from the agencies. It's very promising. And from a tech point of view, in terms of future trends, as Walid was saying during the first panel, out-of-home is the last of the traditional media channels to experience the digital transformation. And that sets standards at a very high level, because 3 main reasons. The first one is because the industry is there for TV, for online publishing, so transformation happened. Number 2, technology is at a completely different level, especially with AI today. I think the power and the impact that AI can have on campaigns, all of what Hisham and Chris was talking about, is huge. And the screens in out-of-home, digital out-of-home, they're going to become maybe switch from being not passive but reactive to predictive screens. And that opens the door for a lot of opportunities for advertisers, for brands, and for agencies, and also for consumers. And that's the third pillar, actually. Digital out-of-home happens out-of-home. So the impact that technology at today's level can bring to the overall experience is absolutely huge. The screen becomes part of the urban landscape, urban design. Think of Burj Khalifa. There's an opportunity for brands, for media owners, for technology partners to build and design urban experiences, iconic urban experiences. And that's where I see the trend going in the next few years. Sorry, I said years, maybe next month.
Next month.
I really think that digital out-of-home, empowered by AI, is changing the way we work as agencies, the way we're buying media. We no longer have an out-of-home traditional team, a performance team, a branding team. It really brings everyone together, creating an ecosystem of media planning, because now we don't only buy an outdoor placement, we buy an audience, we'll buy tracking and performance, and that really allowing us, as we said, to measure, but to redefine the way we work as agencies with out-of-home, bringing all the different silos together to create one dynamic media plan with all the different partners.
Perfect. And you're giving me the right path for me for my next question, is the relevancy. And this is great in terms of how we can really build personalization in digital out-of-home, where we create the most impact. I mean, out-of-home is the highest reach in terms of awareness. So how can we make it more relevant? And how can this affect the media mix? And this is exactly when you consolidate your departments and you really think about it from a more of a 360 marketing approach rather than every pillar alone. So how can personalization really be more relevant in this space? Maybe
I can start. I think there is an important distinction when it comes to personalization, especially on out-of-home. So you have different types of screens out there. You have the large screens, and I think it wouldn't be realistic to talk about personalization at an individual level on large screens because it's a one-to-many communication. Nothing changes, so I think it's more around context, it's more around dynamic creative probably, it's more around predicting audience patterns and movement. That's the first part. And I think the second element, which is more intimate screens, I would say, so a smaller screen basically that you would see either in a supermarket, in a mall, etc. The possibilities of personalization are tremendous on these screens. I think we've seen examples from backlight with people moving their hand and the screen reacting to it. We've seen smart cameras, etc. And where AI really helps across the two, I think on the first one is more around crowd patterns, so being able to identify what kind of audiences are going to be passing by certain screens. And on the second type of screens, it's more around dynamic creative and how to use data to personalize the actual ad.
Absolutely. And Chris, I mean, you've been really involved with us also about, we've just been now rolling 53 metro stations with our smart AI technology. So as you know, Dubai Metro daily commuters around 700,000. And we have our smart screens inside. So how can the power of these smart screens can really affect your campaign targeting in Dubai Metro, where you have 700,000 daily commuters? How can your brand be more relevant?
Yeah, on that point on personalization, because I think it's connected, and I think I agree with Hisham on this, I don't believe that. I think personalization of advertising is something that maybe people in media agencies think is really cool. I don't think consumers do. But you know, when you give someone a tool and it's a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's not the part of this tech I'm excited in. The truth is, and there have been a lot of studies on personalization that leads us to believe that actually you're not really looking for the best ad for each person. You're trying to figure out what is the best ad for everyone. Because I think we have more in common than we have different. So I think if you focus too much on that trick where you can just make one person see one ad versus another, I think you lose the power of creativity. I think creativity is universal, and what's going to appeal to, we have far more in common than different. The part of the technology I think that's really interesting is the ability to buy the right type of audience. So you might still show that, you might show them the same ad, but so what your technology enables me to do is trade against a different currency. So if I know my present and future buyers of my category fit a certain demographic, I can buy that audience and pay for that audience and decide what price I want to pay for that audience. So I think it's more on the media targeting, the ability to buy, rather than I'm going to change my ad versus audience A versus audience B. I think it makes the medium more accountable. It makes the medium grow up a bit. So I'm more excited about that element. And the fact that we can now do that on Metro and in Mall with you guys is amazing.
I think actually the smart cameras allow you to really measure the effectiveness and the attention on your creative. So even if today we decide one creative we put on a hoarding and it has to fit everyone, well actually we could A/B test because we have access to this live data, and then we could really decide the power of creative about measuring the number of people that are actually looking, the time they're looking at the ad, and this is where it supports really the AI empowering our ad and the creativity as well, instead of the one fits all, that everyone has to sit with that image because that's the one we picked, when we can decide which one actually people like more and we can reinforce that format or that specific creative.
Okay. And Hamad, just can you shed a light about an example globally, because you work globally with clients, and case studies of how can this versus a traditional approach of the personalization in a digital out-of-home?
Yeah, definitely. So I agree with you, Chris, when you say that personalization, I will reply to your question. I'm just drawing break. But personalization, extreme personalization, is a killer. I mean, it's gonna kill the campaign. But you still, from an agency or client point of view, you want to optimize your campaign. So I don't think it's personalization in the way that it scares people, but it's contextualization. So, and to be able to do that, you need two main components. You have data, and the second one is creative. So technology and the creativity. And today, technology, as you were saying, allows you to gather real-time data. Then what do you do with this data? And using this data, you mentioned the weather conditions or sensors like the ones we're using. We can capture gender, age, even like fashion trends and all that. And that helps to make creative more in context, okay? And this, at the end of the day, it will help build a better experience and target the right audience with the right message, which is what marketing has always been about. And to answer your question, Rada, in France during the Olympics in Paris, we launched a similar campaign with Sisley, the cosmetics brand, and they were different types of products that they were offering, and for that, we used different sensors, and we were capturing the weather condition, time of the day, age, gender of the audience, fashion trends, and we, depending on those signals that we were getting from the sensors, we were not personalizing to the extreme, but just choosing the right creative, the right product with the right creative and colors in order to fit and get the highest engagement because we were able to measure it. And in terms of brand retention, brand awareness, brand retention, and intention, we were up like 15 points. So that's one simple example. It doesn't change that much from what we're doing in the online business, but it's a nicer implementation, the higher scale and higher impact.
And that's, I think, a dream for any marketeer. I mean, how can measurability affect the marketing performance of a campaign? I mean, this is what we, at the end of the day, we aim for. And how we can measure every single campaign and now with the digital out-of-home being able to be measurable, then we can, the entire 360 campaign can be measured.
Yeah, we're just, I mean, what's going to help achieve is to switch the paradigm from exposure to outcome-based. Mm-hmm. And we can do that through different, I'm going to give basic examples, but you can have a sensor in a screen. If you're in a mall, you can have a sensor near a screen. And then if one of the brands, or the brand has a store in that mall, you can have another sensor there, and you can measure actual, not estimate, actual in-store traffic. You know, that's one implementation that you can achieve. And obviously, some of the panel speakers mentioned that as well. You can have advertiser IDs that are collected from third-party apps. They help a lot to have a better picture of the performance of the campaign. But it's, I mean, we're getting there. And obviously, as Chris was saying, it helps measure better, make better decisions, and understand the user journey or the customer journey in there.
So with this new technology, for sure, I mean, how does data impact the marketing performance for you as from an agency point of view?
I think I'll do a bit of shameless self-promotion, but I'm going to talk about Group M specifically and the impact of AI. So our group has invested heavily on a tool that basically, can everyone hear me? Okay, maybe it's better like this. On a tool that basically analyzes audiences and then maps those audiences against screens. And what that helps you do is score screens against audiences. So let's say I want to target an audience who's interested in travel. The tool would tell us you have to go after these screens at these specific hours, and that's all powered by AI. So if you simplify it, it helps us from a planning perspective, and also from an activation perspective, since we're talking programmatic, obviously all of it is real time. You have the ability to adjust your campaign in real time and to optimize. And measurement, last but not least, has changed dramatically. I think to Chris's point earlier, he was talking about MMM. The fact that we have live data on a real-time basis means you can get faster MMMs, and faster MMMs means better long-term results for our clients.
So in a nutshell, it helps you in the whole process.
Yeah.
In how you plan, how you execute, how you activate, and how you measure.
100%, and I think to bring back the point around personalization, on one of our recent campaigns, we saw a 1.5x store footfall uplift, and it wasn't thanks to individual targeting, but more a better understanding of collective behaviors, and I think that's what drives impact for our clients.
Yeah, I mean, not to belabor the point again, but yeah, I think the fact that you do have this, it's not just live data, but really granular data. When you're doing really sophisticated, proper media measurement, and you're not, just looking at vanity or short-term metrics, and you're trying to figure out long-term, did this deliver long-term market share growth, brand metrics which lead to sales, you do need that level of really, really good data. And so the problem was always that, you would run MMMs, and the granularity and sophistication and accuracy of your data on all other channels was really different to more static channels like TV and outdoor. And so consequently, your ability to look back and say, what impact did they have was diminished a little bit. I think that the fact that we can now integrate the same type of data into MMMs that you would get through digital is just gonna allow us to surface the true synergies between different channels. That's been the biggest. I think for me that's the most interesting component about this. That you're going to be able to look at proper omni-channel in the right way. Not all channels are the same. We kind of do treat them a little bit the same. We just think plan for reach. But channels are not what you call fungible. You don't just replace the reach on TV to outdoor and expect the same effect. It's the same as, reach on a scrolling ad is not the same as an outdoor ad. I want to understand the difference. And I don't want to be doing cookie cutter media planning. A lot of media plans are, and they deliver really anemic performance. If you look at the average performance of any general media plan, it's about 2% long term. However, when you see these outlier campaigns where you've used really, really granular data to do proper channel media planning, really nuanced planning, you get really big outsized effects. And there's a reason for that, which is everyone else in the market is doing one thing. Marketing is about achieving some kind of competitive insight advantage in doing something different. So I think having this data will allow us to plan outdoor better in a more sophisticated way.
So I can say we can have more budgets from different media mix, right? I'll have your promise on that out-of-home budgets is going to increase?
Well, again, like I said, I hear what you're saying, but there's an element of truth, which is the budget for unmeasured media is zero. The budget for poorly measured media should be not zero, but not that much. And so the more measurable, the more accountable your medium is, it's more grown up. You're going to be able to, you have a seat at the table, and you're going to be able to, say, actually, maybe you should move some of that budget away from big tech and move it to us now, because we're able to provide the same level of accountability.
So I guess he said yes.
Because the moment we can measure the effectiveness, we can apply a percentage of it to overall ROAS and revenue calculation, growth calculation. So there's a long-term impact, but there's also a short-term impact where now we can take out-of-home into performance campaign instead of keeping it aside. So this is where we're really bridging a gap today and getting out-of-home into the bottom, not the bottom funnel, but this mid funnel part where we can measure short-time effectiveness, traffic to stores, people searching for your brand, and attributing a potential revenue and ROAS to it, allowing us to adding out-of-home to more campaign than just branding campaigns.
And this would be the direct contributor to how programmatic digital out-of-home can really change the way brands and agencies look versus the traditional way of booking. I mean, this is a very important factor in your decision of how you look into this whole landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that you can, I know we had someone, Ashley from the trade desk here. I think one of the success, one of the great features of being able to buy everything in one place is that ability to do omni-channel and do it all in one place, and also have, maybe single or unique sources of measurement. You can run everything in one place. You're able to do brand lift studies across the whole campaign. For me, that's interesting.
I completely agree. I think we're not moving into a cross-channel world, we're already in a cross-channel world. So ease of access to inventory is really critical for us to plan and activate cross-channel.
So the question here, how can we all work together with this integration of AI, like agencies, media owners and suppliers, creative agencies, clients, brand adoption, clients understanding that this is really a time of transformation of mindset as well. So how can we work all together towards this very fast pace of the integration of AI?
Yeah, I think from an agency perspective, it's really about changing first the organizational aspect. So what I was mentioning earlier, we were talking about digital teams versus linear teams. I think this is driving synergies for us internally. So agencies being more cross-channeled and being organized as such. I think from a media owner perspective, it's multifaceted, but I would say the first one is bring your inventory online, make it available programmatically, which brings me to the next stakeholder, which is tech partners. I think tech partners have a key role in enabling the ecosystem because without them, we can't access the inventory. And I think the last stakeholder that really isn't talked about much is municipalities, and I think Hamad was talking about the urban landscape, and I think that's extremely important. We have a collective responsibility across the board, A, from a sustainability perspective, but B, also from an urban perspective to make sure that the customer journey, the experience when you're exposed to an ad is a pleasant one.
I think today what is changing as well is the fact that to do out of home, the entry ticket is quite expensive. So we're limiting the number of clients that have access to it, the number of clients that can support either a print or the just municipality fee is already jumping your costs. So having digital out of home allows us to have smaller advertisers and more advertisers. So it's also our job as agencies to make sure that all of our clients now have access to this inventory and growing the potential of clients from a few to all of them. Also creating diversification in the brand that we see outdoor, because we're always going to have the big tech, the big names, but now we can have everyone bringing their name into the outdoor world.
I think your question is about the industry collaboration. The one thing I would call out is trade bodies, and I think for me, the one I participate in is the IAB. And the Internet Advertising Bureau's fastest growing membership this year is actually outdoor advertisers, outdoor media suppliers. In fact, on our board, we have Backlight. And if you look at industry, it's probably one of the early times in my job where I get to work with all of my colleagues and competition all in one place. And we work collaboratively, and we produce great pieces of work that all the industry benefits from. It's one of the few times that you'll get competitors all in a room together and we agree on stuff. And I think that's really important. And it's the thing that's most interesting about how the IB changed this year is the fact that now the outdoor industry is playing a really big role in that trade body. And I think that's a good thing.
And hopefully one day we'll have a UAE outdoor syndicate, right?
Well, I don't know if you need necessarily an outdoor. You don't need an outdoor syndicate. You have a trade body that has a whole chapter, a whole work stream, work as part of the trade body that brings together everyone in one place. But yeah.
Sure. And from just a tech partner, how can we all work together?
I think that for digital out of home, technology is one of the cases where, it's one of the cases where technology will enable more human collaboration. If you look at it just from a game theory perspective, you either have no collaboration or collaboration. If you don't have collaboration, there will be tech fragmentation. Online or out-of-home experiences translated to digital out-of-home. And if you collaborate, you can create amazing experiences, urban experiences again, because you need tech partners to share technology and be transparent with the other stakeholders. You need creative agencies and media agencies to work on creative idea and strategies. And then you need media owners to help with the technology and the urban design that they are providing. So I think it's a very simple decision to make here.
Great, and on behalf of W Group as a media owner as well, given that we're also celebrating 25 years in the UAE from trolley advertising to now into AI, smart technology, digital out of home. So we promise that we keep on innovating and working with everyone to make this the right platform for brands and agencies to explore and to start really pushing this. So I think Nadim is giving me the signs. We've covered most of the important topics. So thank you so much for today. And hopefully we keep on pushing everyone to adopt them into this new AI and how they can really effectively use their campaigns in the digital out of home. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Rada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't that a great discussion? I like the fact that as we close Q4 and get into Q5, the common question everybody has is the budget for OOH going to increase? I like the answer to that question is it will if you make it more measurable. And if the out-of-home industry becomes more measurable, you also get more data on the effectiveness of creatives, brand attention, and I like how all discussions come and conclude with the need for more collaboration. The next panel that we have is on building these stronger relationships within the OOH ecosystem in order to unlock growth. This panel has a lot of clients on it and is brought to you by Hills Advertising. Here's a short video about Hills Advertising. Wonderful. I'm just going to distribute these mics accordingly. On this panel, we have with us, let us put our hands together to welcome Maisha Black, Head of Corporate Marketing at Emirates NBD. Beatrice Benedetti, Head of Marketing and Innovation, BRF. Ghassan Kasabji, Chief Growth Officer, MENA, and CEO, UAE for Impact BBDO. Yes. Rachel Devereaux, CMO, Brand Marketing and Digital Director at Virgin Mobile UAE. Atharv Ruparel, Head of Marketing at Pan Home. As well as our moderator for the panel, Sami Al-Mufleh, CEO of Hills Advertising. Over to you, Sami.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, I have to thank today our panelists, and thanks for Nadim and Anoop for doing this type of conferences and events. At last, Motivate take care of outdoor after 20 years. So the last 3 years they were focusing on outdoor, which is good. Actually, it's the relation between clients, agency, and the media owner is our trio relation since ages, and we want to keep it up and trying to enhance it in a better way. I'll start with Ghassan. I want to ask you how you think we can, brands, media agencies, and media owners work together to enhance transparency across planning and execution of any campaign.
First, thank you for having me in this wonderful event. I don't think it's a choice anymore. It's a mandate to collaborate to enhance transparency. I always say we are plagued with short terms. And one of the reasons that is that people that sit on our boards are not marketeers. They expect short-term results, and that mandates that we collaborate to deliver results. Now, for that to happen, I think we need to embrace more research. And the previous panel addressed research such as attribution modeling, MMMs. It's very, very important to look at the long-term impact of outdoor advertising on brand and sales and understand that in depth to be able to really deliver the ROI that you expect. I think also we need to learn from the tech industry and the way brands, developers, and hardware suppliers collaborated together to create ecosystems that flourished. And unless we learn how to sit around the same table and talk with the brand as our priority, then we're never going to get to what we want to get. So this is really, I just think, sitting more around the same table with a shared vision, shared values to achieve what we want to.
And a quick one, actually. How has data analytics affecting that as well, within stakeholders' decisions as well?
Absolutely. You have a lot of tools right now that you are using, especially as AI evolved, that allows you to really measure and measure better. The issue is everybody doing it right? That's the key. And does everybody understand it? And this is a message I would give to all the outdoor partners here. When was the last time you visited the creative agency and explained to them the value of what you're doing, the latest technology that you're using, the data that you're providing? Because at the end of the day, you spend all the money on outdoor, and if you cannot really stand out with an amazing creative, then your investment is all wasted. So data is crucial. Data creates insights. Data helps planning, but also helps measure. So that full chain must be more visible, most understandable, and there is a big education that has to happen on both the brand and agency sides to achieve that.
Yeah, it's a question for me. Since you are from the client side in banking sector, how this affecting you as a client, long time using outdoor, as well as, of course, from the sector of banking, your input in such a question.
Thank you, Sami. First of all, let me start by thanking Nadim and Hills to invite me once again for another campaign and briefing breakfast session. I think we've heard several panel discussions in the earlier sessions. I've heard my colleague, and being in the space for the past 15 years, and all of these discussions have brought a lot in my mind. And back in 2007, when when Emirates Bank and National Bank of Dubai have come together to launch the brand Emirates MBD, I had to actually plaster the country with the new logo. I was sitting with media suppliers like Hills and Hypermedia and many more to actually own the space because we've realized that yes, radio, print, digital are very important, but outdoor remains to be impactful. Now, whether static outdoor, whether digital outdoor, and digital also, we've not only the screens have taken over the outdoor space, but also we've now been speaking about digital out of home. All of these, there has been a lot of evolution happening, and we as a brand, we've been watching this dynamic change that has happened significantly, which brought a lot of change, a lot of options for us as a brand to select from, and we were in the end looking and trying to see, in the end, outdoor brings impact and scale, but how much does it bring in terms of conversions, leads, business to the organization? There were a lot of discussions internally to try to do market mix moduling. If you look at outdoor along with medium, print, how do you associate it with your sales? And there has been a lot of internal discussions happening. In the end, I think outdoor definitely has been a significant key medium for the brand in terms of impact. Digital has been introduced to us, and it also allowed us to actually cut down significantly on the production cost and time to market, especially that we have a lot of brand messaging that we want to take it out to the market for a very short period. So the use of Emirates MBD when it comes to static versus digital has been also, strategic in terms of the investment. We've also looked at the digital out of space programmatic, and we've been watching it. We haven't ventured a lot in it for several reasons, and it's just the start because we've only heard about it recently, like in the past year and a half.
It's a start in a way.
Yes.
But the future is a programmatic.
Yes, exactly. Can the network be much wider for the client? Can the data be much more transparent to me as a client? Me as a client, I need to be as well vigilant and share back the impact of the investment, whether it's on digital outdoor or whether in static with the brand, with the media suppliers. Because that's, again, in the end, there has to be a collaboration among the whole spectrum, from the media suppliers to the brand, to the authorities itself, and to the tech suppliers.
Yeah, analytical always also can give you some data more to take the decision, especially in the digital screening. Actually, we are lucky in this business that we were, before ages, we don't have any major statistical measures for out-of-home media. Recently, with moving to digital, I think the client and the advertising agency and the decision maker who won't spend the advertising budget has more clear picture where I have to put my money and how can I evaluate it and who's the reach that I wanted to have. But at the same time, I would love to ask Beatrice about what do you think, since you are from FMCG background, and you can just tell us your input when it comes to the trade relation between the stakeholders.
Yeah, sure. So I think I'll build on what Hassan said here, that collaboration is key, right? So this is how it's going to work, because from a brand side, when we have clear objectives, right, we share our strategy with our stakeholders, with the media agency, the creative agents, and we are clear, right, about the insights behind. So Sadia is one of the most important food brands here in the region. So we know what consumers want, right, how they consume, what are the occasions. So the more we share, the better will be the results on the media allocation in terms of deciding the placement of the out-of-home. Why I'm going to use it, right? When I'm going to use it, depending on the objective of what I want. But equally important also how the creative aspect of it will be tailored for the out-of-home, right? This is super important because it needs to be effective on the message, but also generate impact, because this is what we want. This is a very cluttered environment, right? Highly fragmented. So we need to generate impact. Sometimes it's a very fast pace, so you have 1 second to spread your message. So creative also, I think it's something that is really important to be tailored for the out-of-home, right? And as we are a food brand, we sell our products through the retailers, right? Big supermarkets. So digital is playing a very important role in our out-of-home strategy as well. So when we are on the streets, we build awareness, generate impact, but inside the shopping malls, close to the supermarkets, this is when we build the consideration and conversion rates, right? So it's very important that we attract in that space as well. And then digital plays a very important role for us and also because it's measurable. So it's
Yes.
very interesting how it's changing here.
I think I need to also tap onto a point that you have mentioned, which is about the emerge of digital outdoor had also created a challenge for us as a brand. So when static was giving me a share of voice, 100% share of voice, impact and scale, digital came in. And we as a brand, I have to have my logo, I have to have my message, I have to have my call to action.
Tactical.
Yeah. The share of voice among that digital loop that started with 4 advertisers and then it became 6 and then 8 and so on, my share of voice has reduced significantly. So even internally, there has been a lot of dilemma. Static, no, that's 100% share of voice, but digital, then I'm going to be one among 6 other advertisers. So all of that has created a lot of discussions internally. When do we use digital? And then our creative, and I'm also referring to Emirates MBD, we have a lot to do on our creative because the message needs to be much more simpler, crisper than a static, because you have a fraction of seconds, 8 seconds when that car is passing for you to actually relay a message to it. So as a brand, I have a lot of due diligence to actually improve my creativity and make it much more simpler.
And measurement-wise. Yes, agree. Well, actually, the question is for Rachel. You know, since you are from this telecom industry, and I need, you know, it's worth it to discuss with you or hear your voice when it comes, your point of view related to the advertising space. What can do for you, especially now focus and effectiveness is the clear message that everyone wants to have. Since you are in the industry of the telecom, I think you are somehow related to digital as well. So your feedback, please, on this regards.
Is this working?
Maybe you can.
Thank you very much. I think, yes, working in telco, working in tech, we still face the same challenges as what I hear from my colleagues. So yes, we've taken strides into digital, and with the share of voice being reduced, that's a challenge for us as it is for you as well. I think that, you know, there's 2 big telcos out there. There's Etisalat, there's Do, and Virgin Mobile's, you know, smaller compared to those 2 beasts. And so we need to be we need to stand out. We need to make an impact. We need to disrupt a little bit. Because we just don't have the huge budgets that these guys do. I'm going to be really, really honest with you. So we're looking at how we can cut through. And for me, that's not just about getting the right location. You might see our building wrap at the moment as you're turning towards the hotel here. But we're also looking at the creative as well, to your point. We, as a brand, are looking to be more authentic. We have actually got real customers on our latest campaign. A very bold move, I'm told by my colleagues. Are you sure you want to have a 100% unscripted campaign with real customers? What are they going to say about us? But actually, that campaign called Superfans has been phenomenal. But it would not have been as successful as what it would have been without outdoor. We have grabbed, I think it was Melissa, you said about, you know, content, it needs to be Instagrammable, right? It needs to be interesting. Well, with our building wrap, as an example, we've got our customer, Adina, she's lovely, on the face of this building wrap. And she is like over the moon, and she's told everyone in her networks that she is like the face in Dubai at the moment on Sheikh Zayed Road. And actually that grabbed the attention of our fellow brands at Virgin Radio as well. And we had Chris Fade, who went to go and visit this building wrap with Adina, and the noise that created in market was phenomenal, and we're extremely proud of that. But that would not have just happened if we'd used digital as a channel. We needed to create some conversation, with the big impact that outdoor allows, and that's perfect. So for us, it's not whether we are digital or traditional media, but actually it's the mix of the media. And it's been really interesting listening to the conversations about programmatic digital outdoor. I've actually come from European markets where I know it's a little bit more mature in terms of programmatic digital outdoor. I think actually as a brand, Virgin Mobile would probably spend more on outdoor if we knew it was going to be effective and we were doing programmatic digital outdoor. I 2 years ago, tried to really work with a consultant to get some programmatic digital outdoor for the campaigns. And it was really difficult to find the inventory to get the impact that we wanted to get, where we could approach the audiences that we wanted to target. So I'm really excited to hear today, really excited to hear that some of this is actually going to open up, because we want it, really do want it, we need it. Interesting again, I think everyone has the same conversations with their CFO. CFO turns around and go, well, what is this campaign delivering in terms of conversions? How many times have we as marketing people been in that meeting? It's, you know, it's easy. It's easy when it's digital. You can say it's the number of clicks, it's the number of impressions, the number of app installs. We can see that. But with outdoor, it's a bit of a tricky conversation. Saying that, again, with our latest campaign, we have done a brand lift study on Meta platform and on other platforms, and we have seen an uplift when we've done and done some outdoor. So we do know, compared to other campaigns where we've not done outdoor, that it does have an impact. It's just a little bit more difficult to describe it to your CFO.
I always have an answer to this question.
I would love to have
I'll
that.
just always say, you know, if outdoor is not effective, why would Apple and Google use it?
Great answer.
Well, actually, it is always important, but we are trying to increase the number and the percentage of expenditure on it, you know. So luckily, with having this digital now, we are increasing from 4 to 6% all over the world. With the static messages now, with the digital, I think we are moving more and more. I've heard 5.2% has been increased according to Raven Outdoor CEO. So I like this figures. With a limited number of budget, you said, do you think that what we are discussing today and our discussion about outdoor business, is there a room to increase your budget next year maybe?
I think if we're starting to look more and more programmatic digital outdoor, then yes, because actually you could start to prove the impact, right? Yeah. It's a much easier conversation to have with the CFO. I don't see it as one or the other. We talked about omni-channel marketing. When I look to plan a campaign, starting very clearly with what are our goals, and then we go, right, well, how are we going to achieve this? What are we going to communicate, which is the creative? And then how best can we convey this message through all of the channels that we have available to us? Yeah. And when I'm briefing the agencies on, okay, what media we're going to use, the brief comes with this is the strategy, these are the insights, and this is the creative. If my media partners don't have a view of what the creative looks like, what we're trying to achieve, then how can they possibly choose the right media mix? So it is absolutely about collaboration. It's everybody coming on that journey together at the same time.
And I would say also that we have an example that this year it was very interesting where the media supplier collaborate with the creative. So using AI and past data information on what is impactful, we optimize the creative. So this was also a very nice example, and we learned a lot in this process.
That's what we need. Atharv, actually, I want to involve you in something that may be good for you, since you are from the industry of, we are happy that you are moving recently to outdoor media. I think, you know, I want to ask a question. In what ways have collaboration between the client and the outdoor supplier affecting the ecosystem of, you know, innovation?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think very, very interesting space. As retail, as very rightly said, budgets are always, you know, in the crunch. We also need to be very, very dynamic because it's a very, very fast-paced environment. What is working today might not be working tomorrow, and therefore the changes are very, very rapid. Without collaborating with our partners, with a roundtable discussion, open discussion, as you rightly said, clearly setting out objectives, it's very difficult to achieve impact. And innovation is something which is very laborious, right? You see a movie flick, going a huge hit overnight, but nobody sees the work that goes behind it, right? Innovation is like that. It's a lot of labor where you have to collaborate with different people. There's a lot of experimentation. Never it happens that, okay, here's the idea, let's go ahead and it's done in a couple of days, which is how you usually operate with outdoor, right? Usual outdoor is, here's a creative, you go live, simple, life is sorted. But innovation is something where you've got a lot of trials, tests, errors. So experimentation is a big part of innovation, and that cannot happen without collaboration. So I think because of collaboration, different kinds of experiments and new ideas come to life. That's what keeps interest in the market, right? We always talk about somebody who did something different, right? Just going on an outdoor is not going to give you the buzz. So innovation is definitely something that will come through with collaboration when people get together, when people pull weight together, and that cannot happen only with one party. The client, the agencies, the partners, all of them have to come together and say that, okay, this is how we can get it done, and let's try it out. And everybody shares a little bit of responsibility, and that's how it can happen.
Yeah. Interesting. Hassan, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the
from a creative point of view.
Absolutely. One of the major KPI that I've been hearing from the C-suites is WhatsApp shareability. Is it being shared on WhatsApp? So, and then they want to share it with the boards and then the higher-ups. Innovation is at the heart of this. When you collaborate between outdoor suppliers, between creative media agencies, and of course the client, innovation is really at the heart of engagement, at the heart of making it viral. Whatever you're doing really gets a lot of eyeballs, and there's a PR value behind it as well. I'll give you two examples. Just recently, we did an amazing collaboration with the UAE government to do the flying taxi out-of-home activation in London, but contextual, next to the cab lines. That generated tremendous amount of PR for the UAE. In 2017, we had an amazing collaboration, my previous agency, between Louvre Abu Dhabi, the outdoor suppliers between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and radio stations, where we installed FM transmitters in outdoor locations on the way and placed works from Louvre Abu Dhabi, and people driving towards Abu Dhabi had this radio station basically on, and then they got the messages about the pieces of work they're gonna see on the outdoor. These types of innovations, even though they are very labor intensive, they break the clutter, and they create a lot of PR value, brand value, all types of value for the client and the brand. So it's hard, and this is where I invite the industry to when we sit together, let's agree on setting a special fund on the side to test and learn, because innovation cannot happen without that.
From where you want the fund? I think agencies should invest in that.
I can jump in here with an example. Very, very recently, we opened one of the largest stores in the region for home in Sharjah. And what we wanted to do was create a buzz within the Sharjah market, within the Northern Emirates, to try and get people to come to the store, experience how it looks, because it's one of the largest in the region. Here, innovation that we've tried is how we can have an integrated campaign. So we've taken out-of-home help. We sat with all our partners and we decided what are the kind of catchments that we want to be present in. We got those live, and we integrated the digital media along with that, where we had geo-fenced campaigns with keeping in mind where the outdoor is. So the customers or the people who are passing through not only look at that, but also get targeted on their phones and vice versa. So the impact was doubling and we saw fantastic responses.
So you believe that there is some hardies and some challenges to have this innovation happening. So maybe there is a role for all of us as a media owners, plus the agencies as well as the client, to adapt maybe new challenges and working hard hand in hand to just support or cover these challenges to make innovation more and foster innovation is happening more in the ecosystem of this business.
I think just to also add one more point here, creative agencies can also be in. Why won't I bring the creative agency at the time of brainstorming the creative and bring the media supplier, look at the possibilities of what innovation can be, what innovative ideas can be done. So, and not just, loop the media suppliers at the time,
That's the healthy relation that's done to get the maximum good campaign.
Absolutely. And then the next point I want to also tap onto is authorities. We have RTA, we have Dubai Municipality. We've seen that they have been also changing their regulations. Recently they've been, slightly stricter on lesser animations, making it as well challenging for us as a brand. But yes, we have to have the appetite to test and try. But then can we bring all these parties on the table, agree on that, how that industry operates, what are the, can we have a proper framework that we can work within and not it being changing, because that also helps us as a brand to know what is possible, what is not possible.
Nadeem, we are waiting this for 1 year, so give us more 2 minutes. You're just waving 2 minutes. Give us more. We are enjoying. I have to listen to the organizer. As a final thought, since in this room, most of the very good companies who are doing out-of-home media, and all of them are success stories doing digital recently in town, and you as a client, and the partnership should be, as we said, always in the right direction, from creative, from innovation, from approvals from related authorities. We are moving for next generation of digital and programmatic. I need from you, all of you, just 1 sentence or 2 sentences of what we should do, all of us, to make things happening in the right direction. And we are always open to listen to your brain ideas and what you should do to make things happening more and more in a more effective way, helping the client needs, where all of us working for the client need at the end of the day.
Okay, I'll make it very short, and because Nadeem has been waving for quite some time. I think one, collaboration right from is something that we have to underline a lot, from the brand to the media suppliers to the technology tech team behind managing the programmatic, even the authorities. Come together all and collaborate, so we can bring achieve our objective as a brand and bring some more value to all these parties. 2, data. How can the data be much more unified? Give us more data. We don't need just the number of cars that are passing by the road. Give us more data, because that is something that I'm always questioned internally. We don't want these cars that are, on Sheikh Zayed Road, there are like trucks, buses transporting laborers. I want to reach somebody who is earning 20K. So unified data, exposure of that data more across all these parties, but as well as a brand, share back the insights with these parties on how impactful the campaign has gone. So at least we can improve and optimize this. And finally, educate. We as a brand, we have to educate our stakeholders internally to test and try. But as well, I think the space, we have a lot, we've started in that digital out of home, and programmatic has started now, but I think there has to be a lot of education from the partners, from the media suppliers to the whole ecosystem.
May, I think you said it all. So yes, collaboration, transparency, and as a brand, we need more data-driven insights, right? Because the biggest challenge is how to optimize the budget allocation. This is the truth, right? So help us with data, insights, and for sure we will increase the budget on out of home.
Absolutely. I mean, we said it, collaboration, but also, I think you alluded to this. If you're not bringing your media agency and your creative agency and the suppliers together at the start of the brief, you're making a mistake. We don't move before we understand the channel strategy, because creativity today is creativity for the channel and the medium. You don't adapt to TikTok, you create for TikTok. You don't adapt for an outdoor, you should create for outdoor. And that's one major change that the CMOs and the heads of marketing must do, is to bring together media and creative and suppliers together for innovation to really stand out of the clutter.
I think I agree with all the points that have been made, but to add a different perspective and different point to this is, from my side, I feel there's a change of mindset that is required, where we stop looking at people as vendors or partners and more as stakeholders. Talk about what is the long-term goal that you have, where do you want to get at, and how can you commit to the partner. Don't always ask the partner to commit to you, what can you do for my campaign today? How can you commit to the partner that, okay, let's do something together in long term, let's look at a 2-year, a 3-year goal and grow together. The more I grow, the more you grow with me. I think that kind of a mindset shift will also help in getting partners to invest more with the clients. So I feel that's also one of the things to look at.
Yes.
Not sure there's much more to say, but I think that we're all in this room, right, and we know that there's a lot that can be achieved in the area with data and programmatic and AI, etc., etc. And I think it's just common understanding, actually, education, all talking the same language. It's difficult to do, right, in a fragmented world, but I think that will help. Having workshops, like you say, with all of the stakeholders around the table.
Yeah, thank you very much, all of you, and I think it was a very good discussion today. I have to thank all of our media owners, colleagues here in town, who are really added a great value in the last 5-6 years to the industry with some more good innovation ideas and concepts and locations, which is really fulfill the concept of Emirates of Dubai and the vision of the city. And hopefully you will see from us more and more, and we will work hard on the relationship between and partnership between our business together with advertising agencies and the third most important one is the client. Thank you very much all, and thanks for Motivate Publishing for this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the questions are common, the answers are common. How do we increase budgets for OOH in the coming year? Answer, from the client side at least, help us optimize our budget allocation. Let's focus a little more on measurement. Let's focus on education before innovation. Let's move towards programmatic. Let's help come together, have a greater inventory of programmatic, and let's get media agencies, creative agencies, media owners, regulatory bodies, and clients together at an early stage of the brief. We are now going down to our final panel of this session. Now that we've discussed the past and we've discussed the present, it's time to discuss the future a bit. Our final panel for the day will discuss the path to further growth and how to foster a more dynamic and inclusive future for outdoor advertising. This panel is brought to you by Seventh Decimal, and it's my pleasure to call upon our moderator for the panel, Muad, CEO and co-founder of Seventh Decimal. Muad, over to you.
Okay, setting this up. Hi, everyone. Hello. Woo. I did break something. Everyone can hear me? Okay. Thank you, Anoop, for the introduction. Well, I do see a lot of familiar faces. This is quite comforting, as I'm always stressed on stage. But for those who don't know me, I am the CEO and co-founder of Seventh Decimal. Seventh Decimal, if this works, is the research company behind out-of-home, the standardized out-of-home measurement system in the GCC, STREACH. We provide the currency metrics for out-of-home measurement, that is reach, frequency, and impressions. For those clients here who have been throughout the day, we do provide reach, frequency, impression, and we can actually help you justify your out-of-home investments. STREACH measures today roadside, transit media, and place-based for both static and DOOH. We work every day to provide stable, accurate, and reliable tradable metrics with one objective: bringing advertisers to trust out-of-home. The support and welcome of the main stakeholders in the industry made us part of it, part of this family, and its growth and thrive automatically became as well our objective. I have chosen today this topic on the panel that is probably not research related, but I have been asking myself for quite some time now, how can out-of-home grow in the UAE? While it's most certainly not competing against each other, but working collaboratively towards getting new budgets, new clients, new type of advertisers. So I wanted to take a step back and have a macro view on what is missing. Today with out-of-home, advertising holding in the UAE around 20% of the total ADEX, outpacing the 6% that is globally, our industry stands strong. We have done investments in premium DOOH, the establishment of a standardized measurement currency to boost advertisers' trust. We have built automation to facilitate the trading of outdoor. We have also invested in programmatic capabilities, be it in ad tech or in the effort of stakeholders, advanced targeting technologies. So we are mostly doing everything right. However, there remain untapped potential for further growth. Expanding our industry supply, diversifying it, deepening our community impact and social responsibility, and of course, what May just mentioned, regulations. I will not tackle regulations on this panel today, but I do strongly advise you to read James Bicknell's latest article in the Campaign Out-of-Home Guide, tackling this topic. It's a great read. So we will end up with two key areas: exploring how to make it for out-of-home to be more accessible to a wider range of advertisers, and obviously getting new budgets, to encouraging a sustained industry growth through social responsibility, corporate responsibility. For this, I have on this panel four brilliant panelists: Dr. Stavroula Kalogeras, a marketing professor and an MBA program director at Harriet Watt University. Dr. Stavroula, which we'll call Stavroula moving forward, is a scholar and practitioner who has worked for a leading entertainment conglomerate in the US, such as E! Television. She's responsible for creative marketing campaigns. I have as well Ayman Salam, who is COO and co-founder of Elevision, A success story for DOOH screens suppliers in the elevators in the UAE, expanded in the UK as well. When everyone was going big, Elevision was thinking proximity marketing. Back in 2012, genius. David Hawkins, who is the managing director of the OOH specialist Billups, a rising star globally. And for those who haven't yet met their CEO, Benjamin Billups, they are truly missing all the fun of this industry. Mansour Wehbi, client director at Tannen, a leading out-of-home specialist on a global scale, who expanded to the GCC 2 years ago, led by Shadi Farhat, a veteran in media buying. Let's all welcome them with a big applause. So just for those who don't know what out-of-home specialist is, which is the scope of Billups and Tannen, these people are, in other words, media agencies specialized in strategizing, media buying, and planning for out-of-home only. Thank you all for being here, David, Mansour, Ayman, and Sabrullah. I will start with Mansour a little bit. As you are the oldest probably in the industry, with 15 years buying out of home, what do you think are the factors that have driven the significant 20% of addicts for out of home?
If we look at the average that we have here in the region versus the global average, which sits at like 5 to 6% of the media investments, let's take actually one step back. Let's look at the history. So previously, globally, advertisers used to always go to measured spaces. Out of home back then wasn't measured. TV, while back then, has been measured since maybe before the 2000s. So the global advertisers used to go to measured media spaces, hence why the share of out-of-home has remained low. While, on the opposite, in our region here, the lack of measurement helped the growth, helped this balance of investments. So you would have your 20% on TV, 20% on out-of-home, et cetera, et cetera. Moving ahead to where we are now, the cities, Dubai, if you look at Dubai, if you look at Abu Dhabi, everything is concentrated in one place. The cities are small. Out-of-home is concentrated in one place. So the advertiser can get massive impact by being present, for example, on Sheikh Zayed Road. And for you to do that, you need large formats. And large formats tend to be expensive. Another factor I can think of is as simple as the means of transportation that we use here in the region. So our means of transportation in Dubai are much more different than in London, demanding large formats, demanding hoardings, demanding big screens, which are super expensive. While you can run a campaign in London probably with a couple of 10,000s in the metro station.
So David, we just understood from Mansour that premium DOOH has a major contribution to this high share of addicts in the out-of-home. But don't you think that there is more to out-of-home?
Without doubt. When you think about the out-of-home market space over here, it is creative, it's dynamic, it's iconic, and it's becoming more and more the kind of keystone to international brief responses. But you're right, there's so much more that the region can deliver in terms of complementing the iconic digital out-of-home inventory that's available. And this really kind of touches on a subject that was brought up earlier on by Sean and Backlight. For me, it's all about diversification of supply. It's about adding value to the industry. It's about adding value to the out-of-home environment. Not so much more of the same, but more of something different, something that's scalable, something that's offering more opportunity for advertisers and brands to become involved in out of home. Now that comes in kind of two ways, essentially. It's either through the collaboration that Backlight were talking about earlier on, and I think there's some really interesting stuff that's happening in the marketplace with Al Arabia and the Megacoms network, and with Hypermedia as well, and what they're doing in the metro stations. But that kind of scalable network can't only just come from collaboration, it has to come from new opportunities as well. And I think there are opportunities that are out there in the marketplace to find new environments, new neighborhoods, new networks around key points of interest, which will provide new audiences for brands to become involved in. And it's really, really key when we're talking about these new networks that it's not talking about adding to the visual clutter, it's about adding quality products into quality environments, finding new audiences. On top of that as well, it's very, very important that there is the element of data, which you were just talking about on stage at the moment. Networks are nothing without data because they won't have the flexibility that brands want through programmatic without this. And then speaking about programmatic, it's also about the collaboration of the automation of the buying process of that as well, to give it easy access to the marketplace.
So today the opportunity is buying audiences instead of buying assets on out of home.
It's an add-on. So, you know, the assets that are there at the moment are really kind of ticking the box of brand awareness, okay? And if we look at the marketing funnel, and earlier on we were talking about this today, it's about targeting the audiences at the point in time of consideration and consumption. And this is what these scalable networks will really provide. It's adding additional revenue to the out-of-home marketplace, not taking from the iconic brand awareness that's already in place through the large format networks that are available across the region.
Yeah. Ayman, adding, as David was saying, adding, complementing premium out of home or premium digital out of home, it can be like static or digital out of home. The question would be, what type of new audiences can we unlock to grow this industry? So we want to run away from buying assets to buying audiences to grow the industry. How can we do that?
Well, I think certainly when you move into a place-based network like ours, a digital place-based network, like we have at Elevision, right away we are able to offer more targeting than you would get in a traditional outdoor placement. With our focus on premium residential and premium office districts, we have more targeting data, we have more curated audiences, I guess you could say. So you do get that extra level of targeting availability. You also get a lot more flexibility in how you approach those audiences in terms of not just your schedule, well, including your scheduling, your creative flexibility, more tactical deployment, all the different buying constructs, impression-based buys, and again, there's a lot of rich data that also comes with these types of more, I guess, diversified assets.
We're definitely going to tackle a little bit how we can automate different ad format for new audiences. But Stavroula, I have a question for you, since you're very much into the education system. And as we're tapping new or more audiences to increase our industry and get additional budget, how can the out-of-home industry incorporate millennials and Gen Z values into corporate social responsibilities? We do really want those to love us.
Absolutely. The way I look at it, I would consider doing a transmedia approach to marketing. So basically, you tell a narrative across many communication channels, and you extend that narrative. So then when your stakeholders or your audience hit the different touch points, they get all the piece of the story rather than a omni-channel approach that we've been using. So it's really about... So it's really about telling a story across all the channels, communicating the message. Now, there's some recent studies with the millennials that they block ads, that they skip ads. So the study shows that 70% of them do that, and the best place to reach them, they're obviously digital and online, but they're also on the go and outside. So this is where we can use those different strategies and narrative expression and communicating those social impact messages, but you can't do that unless you're actually an organization doing social impact. So we can move back to corporate social responsibility, which was basically just providing funds to organizations, but now we need to be brand activists, and we really need to create meaning in our communities, and our younger generation is really asking for that. They want organizations that make positive change. They're willing to spend more with organizations that are making those changes, so it's really critical to how we grow in the future with togetherness, connectivity, and we all have digital anxiety with all the different media that we're using. So how do we, the World Economic Forum, for example, says we're going to be a digital ecosystem. We're going to be online and inside, and that's a pretty scary future, right? So if we're not well with digital, then how do we, outdoor and out of home, is going to be a great opportunity to capture, since the younger generation is also on the go, and that narrative can capture their attention.
I have read a couple of days ago an article by Anna Bagger, who is the president of OAAA, that millennials and Gen Z are looking favorably into our channel, which is the out-of-home industry, and that is because it's a passive channel. It is not, it is very privacy as well, and brand safety. So I do believe that we have the opportunity today to start speaking to millennials and Gen Z and start preparing them, because we, as a channel, I think we are very much close to their values as well.
Absolutely, it's a great opportunity right now for outdoor and out-of-home marketing for the young generation.
Ayman, I had a question. So how do you think your network contributes to the success of out-of-home campaigns, more widely, like small ad formats and diversified ad format, not to go into a marketing campaign for television on the panel?
How do we contribute to, like, if there's an existing?
How do you contribute for the success of an out-of-home campaign, knowing that you guys have a diversified network?
I mean, I think it goes back again to the audiences that we can offer. Again, adding more targeting options to an existing out-of-home network, adding more data options, more buying constructs when you get into impression bias and these sort of things, adding more granularity to the delivery options, and a lot of the features and functions that we hear programmatically, or that we hear highlighted in a programmatic context, they are actually available through direct buy still. When you talk about impression buys and some of the measurement, and whether you're doing MMM or MTA attribution, all that same type of measurement and performance is available through direct buys. All the data is there. So with a more diversified network, with more targeted audiences, I believe that kind of measurement and some of those more tactical approaches can add a lot of value to what would be a traditional out-of-home approach.
So we can still send a direct I/O through automated procedures rather than really having a full PMP buying.
Yeah, most of us in the digital out-of-home space, the CMSs that we now use have ad servers. And a lot of that functionality is available in the ad server, again, outside the programmatic channel. You can access it programmatically, and you get additional benefits with a programmatic approach in terms of multi-channel, multi-network, and that sort of thing, and the bidding environment. But a lot of those really core features we identify or associate with programmatic are available through our ad servers. Andy, that was up earlier with LDSK, they have that exact same product. It's not just it's not just exclusive to programmatic channels.
Mansour, going back to today, media owners do have a couple of them do have the supply. Where do you think supply is missing? What type of supply is missing in our part of the world?
Definitely, we're talking small formats, frequency builders, anything that is used for hyper-local targeting. This is something that we lack. I believe Emon would be one of the few suppliers that can offer this, but we all know that the inventory is not enough. And this is the type of inventory, this is the kind of supply that opens up data targeting, that opens up room for proper programmatic out-of-home adaptation. So I would like to see these small formats expand more, whether in gyms, whether in elevation, elevation, I want to say, whether in elevators, whether in the new communities that are coming up now in Dubai. There's a massive urban development in Dubai. We're seeing new areas coming up. We're seeing more rural areas, more ways to place roadside targeting that's smarter, that's more granular. And I hope we will be ready, because I see this happening. We're going to expand. We're going to see more small formats happening, and we need to be data ready.
David, coming to the market, what is the difference between, let's say, the UK diversity of ad format versus in the UAE? And what can we do to really help you as agencies plan on audiences?
Yeah, going just off the back of what Mansour was saying there, it's the scalable networks which are really missing from the region.
And that would be both. When we say scalable network, is it only for digital out of home, or it can be static?
Digital, essentially. Digital out of home is where the growth is really kind of coming from within the European marketplace. But it's not just having, as I said earlier on, it's not just having the networks in place and the small formats in place, which I completely agree with. You know, there's that frequency to be able to cover off the marketing funnel and different stages of purchase behavior of the people that we're looking to get in front of. But within that, you know, the prime example of growth really that's taking place within the European marketplace at the moment is retail media. And when you look at retail media and how dunnhumby are working with Tesco's, for example, you're putting meaningful data and meaningful audience analysis feeding into the programmatic system, which means you're not just buying any more data or whether reactive or dynamic programmatic changes. You're actually reacting against the retail data and what is happening on the ground there and then. So it's a real blend, right? You know, I also think that, you know, what Elevision are doing in moving internationally and moving into the UK is the right thing, because it actually gives you consistency when we're working on multi-market briefs with clients. It gives you consistency over the networks that you're discussing as well. So I think there's a couple of layers there that are really interesting for the marketplace over
Sure
here.
glad I came on this panel.
Mansour, do you see like some sort of trends or appetite from advertisers today to start buying audiences, look into what type of network, diversity of network, instead of like looking into only assets on out of home? Or are we still a little bit behind?
No, definitely there's appetite, and this appetite...
Like who?
Yeah, exactly. This appetite wouldn't really come only from the big brands, from the big clients that we're used to. I know we're all stuck in our agency billings and in our agency big clients, but 50% of the market out there, if not more, media owners can correct me, is direct. And this is a massive opportunity for growth. And these guys, these are the ones that want efficiency. These guys are the ones that want to target. And these guys are the ones that want flexibility in out-of-home buying. So this is a massive opportunity for growth. Who can afford from a startup in Dubai to go for a couple of weeks on Sheikh Zayed Road for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars?
So if I take your numbers right, if we enable in our market different ad format and diversity of ad format,
Absolutely.
we will be able to increase 1.5 our industry.
Yes.
Yes? Wow. That's a lot of opportunities.
That is, it is.
I mean, just to touch on that, your point about the 50% of direct, that is almost exactly where we split our categories.
Yeah. And there's, I'm sure a lot are refraining from going on out of home and just dumping everything into social, into online, because of the lack of flexibility of buying and the lack of flexibility in targeting.
When we say flexibility of buying, Iman, it is like, does it have to be either 0 or 100%? So can't it be divided so there is a certain amount of inventory that is bought fixed versus a certain amount of inventory that would be flexible for targeting, for day partying, so on and so forth? Is today Elevision doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the word flexibility can be applied in a variety of ways. It can be in terms of the scheduling, like you mentioned. I mean, people can run their 24-hour loop, a 2, 3, 4-minute loop, or they can day part it in an infinite number of ways. The flexibility can be in terms of budget. I mean, as Mansour said, we can, not just us, but any kind of smaller format network, the way we segment our network, we are able to accommodate almost any budget of any size. And flexibility in terms of creativity, you can run obviously multiple creatives across different timeframes. You can trigger them against different conditions. So that the term flexibility can be applied in so many ways. Whatever the objective is of the client or whatever constraints that they're working under, we can offer some form of flexibility to accommodate that. And not just, I just say we, but you know, the kind of smaller format, more dispersed, you know, digital out of home, whether it's premium residential, office, metros, malls, you know, maybe hopefully we'll start to see health, fitness, cafe networks, this sort of thing, would all have the similar properties.
How much more do advertisers, or are advertisers willing to pay to get this flexible buying option? David? Generally, it's what, 30% higher?
Good
38?
question. Good question. I don't want to give away the secret sauce to how people figure out their CPMs, but look, the short answer to your question is that people are willing to pay for efficiencies, because if they can get in front of and guarantee that they are in front of their target audience through the use of data and be more efficient in their buying, then they may be buying at a smaller volume, but they're buying more efficiently in front of to get in front of the people they want to target. So there is a premium that can be charged there, and there is a premium out in the marketplace. It depends on how granular you want to go into that data as well, right? The more granular you become, then the more it's going to cost. But clients are understanding of this generally. Clients are understanding that the more targeted that they want to be, then they realize that there is going to become a premium with that to get in front of their audience.
Am I very far from the 38?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. I mean, yes, we can increase the price for flexible. I think the major point is having suppliers and existing media owners enabling that. And I think they do use Andy's technology probably for yield optimization. But I'm really bad in keeping time. In closing reflection question I have for Stravula, in what ways can the industry work with higher education to evolve and strengthen out-of-home as an industry?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about collaboration in this session, and I think we definitely need to incorporate higher education where we have guest speakers from industry come in. We can do the research for some of the out-of-home that needs to be done, work together collaboratively so we can provide the graduates that you need to be able to transfer skills from place to place, I think is really important. So as higher education tries to be more practice-based and efficient, so we can provide the graduates that industry is looking for, is very important as well. Yeah.
It's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question for the three of you. What actions can we take today as an industry, collaboratively, to unlock the power of audiences and foster growth on out-of-home? You have already tackled the majority of the question, but do you have an idea that we haven't tackled so far, just to close up with reflection?
I would say definitely standardized measurement. boost advertisers' confidence, push them to invest, especially with the expansion that we're hopefully going to see right now. Make use of that expansion, make use of the urban expansion that's happening in the UAE to have a proper programmatic out-of-home and data adoption. And creative and innovation. Everyone loves creative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what you're saying there, standardized measurement, yes, collaboration, absolutely, across the industry. The growth of quality, scalable networks across the region isn't just about throwing a screen in, it is about making sure that it is a quality product in front of a quality audience with quality placement. And then, look, you know, the region has the rest of it. It has creativity, it has innovation in its spirit. So if we build it, they will come, as they say in the films.
I would touch back on both this concept of collaboration and education, because, you know, we talked a lot about these new buying constructs and a lot of the new data we're getting, and I know the guys at Catch are here, and all the real-time data we're pulling from them and partners like Streech, and all these different buying conditions and dynamic content and external triggers. And, you know, we have the technical setup for it, and we know it requires a little bit more effort on the buy side, both from marketers and buyers and planners, to take advantage of all that. But the reality is the responsibility lies with us. We can't just set up all this tech and all this and you know, make the audiences available. The responsibility lies with us to illustrate and demonstrate the value in all these tools, because it is a collaborative process to take advantage of all that between us as a media supplier and the marketers and the buyers and the planners. It's a two-way street. You need a willing partner. And the responsibility is with us to again, be able to illustrate and articulate and demonstrate all the added value that can come from the new technology. We can't just assume that I mean, there's a build it and they will come aspect of it, but we have to kind of let them know it's there and guide them through the process.
Personally, I do believe as well that the diversity of supply and investment from different media owners into different ad formats will automatically use those tech and will enable programmatic and will eventually get OOH specialists and media agencies in general to really buy and get new budgets for us. So unless we start diversifying our audience as media owners, it's going to be very difficult to enable programmatic, because if the majority of the inventory is limited to 100% fill rate, it's not going to happen. But I totally agree with you, David, that we cannot just install screens for the sake of screens. So we can, I've heard that probably in a conversation with you, that you have screens in the US in the bathrooms or in the changing rooms, and this is obviously not probably generating impression, but not a good impression. But, well, I mean, yes, we should diversify, but we should diversify, like you said, in quality inventory, but we should start looking into buying audiences and stop buying assets. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, pleasure. Thank you, Morg. Thank you.
A special word of thanks to our sponsors and partners as well: Viola Outdoor, Ribian Outdoor, Hypermedia, Contour Hills, Contour Media, Hills Advertising, and 7 Decimal. Thank you all for joining us here today, and with that, we come to an end. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us.